Chapter 1689, Well each pay separately. 2. Len Ruoshua settled second elder, but Fengde, who was still in the nightmare realm, was extremely depressed. Second elder had already left, and he couldn't even see the young lattice face. He had thought that the second elder would seek out his lady and request to return after leaving, but after waiting for a few days, he still did not see the second elder. As such, he became extremely dejected. Seeing Fengde sitting on the big rock dejectedly, Yu jumped in front of him and said with a smile, "Fengde, I've already gotten him out of here. Now, there's no one else in front of you. You should be happy." "Why should I be happy? I'm the one who wants to get out." "It wasn't him." Fengde was a little angry as he roared, "Fuck. What the hell is this? Those who wanted to go out couldn't, but those who didn't want to go out were sent out. But you can't go out now, and I saw that he was too restless, so I made an exception and sent him out." Yu explained with an aggrieved expression. "I can't stay calm either. You can make an exception and send me out too," Fengde quickly said. "No. Even if you're as restless as him and are running around like a headless fly, I can't send you out. We're on the same side after all. Hee hee. Of course, we have to take care of our own people," the fish said matter-of-factly. The fish's words made Fengde so angry that he gritted his teeth. At that moment, he really wanted to cook and eat the fish. However, the fish ignored Fengde's anger. Instead, it opened its watery black eyes and stared at him. At this moment, an elder woke up. An old man has woken up?" the fish asked in surprise. The one who woke up was the seventh elder. At this time, he was still a little dazed after just opening his eyes, and his mind was in a mess. But very quickly, he remembered everything that had happened in the dream, and instantly, he broke out in a cold sweat. "Get away from me. Don't come any closer." The seventh elder, who had inadvertently lowered his head, saw the fish that had unknowingly jumped to his side and shouted in shock. "Old man. Don't be afraid. You're just having a dream." When Yu saw this, he smiled evilly and comforted her. It seemed that the old man was quite frightened. Dreaming? The seventh elder's mind was clearly not as clear as the second elder's, and he was not as calm as the second elder when he woke up. In addition, everything in the dream was so real, so he did not realize that he had just been dreaming. Was it really just a dream? So, he wasn't eaten by this fish? The last part of his dream was exactly the same as the second elder's. He was scared awake after being buried in the fish's stomach. However, it was a good thing that he was scared awake. Otherwise, if he had been disheartened by death, he would probably never wake up again and would really be eaten by the fish. Yup. You're dreaming, and this is part of the test. You've passed it. Yu explained with a smile. It seemed that not everyone's mind was that clear. Among the Ning family's elders, only that old man was smart, it secretly evaluated in its heart. "I passed the test." The seventh elder was shocked and couldn't help but ask, "Can you tell me what the test is?" No matter how he thought about it, he still felt that something was wrong. This dream was really too strange. "It's your inner demons." The fish chuckled. "Inner demons?" Hearing this, the seventh elder turned to look at the other elders, only to see that they were still in deep sleep with no signs of waking up. Moreover, they were in a very sorry state from head to toe, as if they had just experienced a great battle, which was a shocking sight. Thanks, he looked around but did not see the second elder, who had the highest cultivation among the elders. His heart sank and he could not help but ask, "Where's the second elder? Why isn't he here?" "Don't worry. Your sweetheart passed the test earlier than you, so I've already sent him out," Yu said with a "don't worry" expression. Upon hearing Yu's words of comfort, Ling Qingtian and the others could not help but lower their heads and laugh. Even the depressed Fengde laughed. However, seventh elder's mood did not improve. "The second elder is not my sweetheart." The seventh elder glared at him and said through gritted teeth. "Arg. Did you have a change of heart so quickly? Speak. Who was that mistress? Is it that old man from that day? The fish said with rich imagination. It didn't give the seventh elder a chance to explain and continued, fuck. I hate mistresses the most in my life. I'm going to find that old man to settle the score. After saying that, it hopped away, leaving behind the dumbfounded seventh elder, Fengde, and the others who were trying to hold back their laughter. Looking at the seventh elder's old face that was flushed with anger, Fengde and the others could not help but laugh wildly, ha ha ha. The seventh elder. Calm down. That fish will never change its mind, so just admit it. Everyone consoled him. I admit it. What am I going to admit? It's obviously hallucinating, and you still want me to recognize it. The seventh elder was a little angry from embarrassment. These hateful guys, not only did they not help him, but they also watched the show. It was really infuriating. What else can we do? Can you explain it clearly to a fish? Fengde held back his laughter as he looked at the poor seventh elder. His mood was much better now. AI. When the seventh elder heard this, he immediately became dejected. It seemed difficult to reason with a fish that only knew what was in its mind. Oh right. Did second elder really go out? The seventh elder asked worriedly. In fact, he didn't believe the fish's words. I wanted to go out, but the fish wouldn't let me. It only sent second elder out. Fengde said. As long as he thought of this, he would feel depressed. Will second elder be sent to another place by them? The seventh elder asked doubtfully. I don't think so. There are only 3 domains in the fantasy sky, and this is the last one. He must have gone out. Fengde said with certainty. That's good. Hearing Fengde's words, the seventh elder finally felt relieved. AI. I wonder when we'll be able to leave here. Fengde sighed. He was the one who wanted to go out the most, so why didn't they let him go? This was really too much. Can't we get out? The seventh elder couldn't help but ask after hearing Fengde's complaint. That rabbit said that we can only go out when at least half of the Ning family's elders wake up. Otherwise, we can only stay here and accompany them. Fengde explained. Oh. Then now, the seventh elder looked at the other elders who were in a deep sleep. He could not help but stop halfway through his sentence. Including you, only 2 of the Ning family's elders have woken up, Fengde said gloomily. Chapter 1690, Well, each pay our own bill. 3, that. They will wake up. They just need time. The seventh elder didn't know how to comfort Fengde. After all, it was because the elders of the Ning family had not woken up, so Fengde and the others were trapped here. He couldn't help but feel a little guilty. I know. Fengde was helpless. In this situation, he had to wait. Just as the 2 of them were chatting, a shrill scream suddenly rang out in the space. Arg! Help me! The voice was very familiar to the 7th elder, because it was the voice of the 11th elder. Is 11th elder calling for help? Fengde couldn't help but ask after hearing the voice. Yes. The 7th elder said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. At this moment, he really didn't know what to say. Hearing this voice, the 11th elder was probably in deep waters. Poor 11th elder, how could that fish recognize him as the third party? Fengde was really curious. The current situation was most likely the fish punishing the mistress. I don't know either. The 7th elder was speechless. Then, he stood up and said, No. I have to go and take a look. Wait. I suggest you don't go. If you go now, I'm afraid it will only make the fish even more angry. So, you'd better stay here. Don't add oil to the fire. Seeing this, Fengde quickly pulled the 7th elder back. 7th elder, what Fengde said makes sense. You can't go there now. Leng Qingtian also advised. After being with the fish for so long, they more or less understood its habits. If the 7th elder went over now, the 11th elder would be even more unlucky. If things went wrong, even the 7th elder might be caught. Ai. All right then. The 7th elder unwillingly returned to his seat. However, the occasional screams of the 11th elder made him feel as if he was sitting on pins and needles. After a long time, the 11th elder finally stopped calling out, and Yu-er returned, satisfied. Little Yu-er. Did 11th elder also pass the test? Ling Qingtian asked curiously when he saw the fish. No, I didn't. He hadn't accepted the test yet. The place he's in right now can't be tested. Yu said with a faint smile. So you don't plan to let him take the test? Ling Qingtian continued to ask. Of course, he has to accept the test. However, it's not now. I don't want him to ruin the relationship between these two old men. Therefore, I can only isolate him. The fish pointed at the 7th elder with its fin. Oh. You really are a good child. He has a sense of justice. Len Qingshan's face was full of black lines, but he still braced himself to praise her. That's natural. I've always abhorred evil. Yu was getting a little smug from the praise, while the 7th elder's expression was getting uglier and uglier. He felt like crying but had no tears in his heart. When would he be able to clear his name? Let me out. Let me out. The 11th elder suddenly shouted. Shut up. The fish roared impatiently. Then, with a flash of white light, it disappeared. In the blink of an eye, the 11th elder stopped screaming. If it can teleport, why does it jump every time? Fengde looked at the disappearing fish and said with a puzzled face. Maybe. It likes this. Ling Qingtian guessed. It was just like how they used their godly skills to defeat their enemies, but they preferred to use their fists. They enjoyed the feeling of their fists hitting the flesh, and listening to the bang-bang sounds made their hearts feel especially refreshed. Which one do you like? The white light flashed again, and the fish returned. Moreover, he happened to overhear their conversation. We said that you can teleport, but you like to jump. That's what you like. Ling Qingtian said with a smile. Hee. It really is. Yu agreed without the slightest bit of anger. Little Yu, why do you like to jump? Ling Qingshan's face was filled with curiosity. I like it. There's nothing urgent. The fish said matter-of-factly. It's really like that. This is your territory, and everything is within your control. Of course, you should do whatever you want. Ling Qingtian said. Master Grandpa's words really hit the nail on the head. Yu also flattered Ling Qingtian. Thanks, hee. Then, the man and the fish looked at each other and smiled. However, in the eyes of the others, their expressions were a little abnormal. Especially Ling Ruhan, who could not help but widen her eyes and look at her grandfather in disbelief. She thought to herself, is that half-grown old man who is smiling foolishly really my grandfather? However, he only dared to think about it in his heart. He definitely didn't dare to ask. Otherwise, his grandfather would definitely be furious. Time passed. After the 7th elder woke up from his dream, several other elders woke up one after another. However, when they woke up, their condition was obviously not as good as the 7th elder's. They were completely dumbfounded and did not have any reaction for a long time. After a long time, their first sentence was, I didn't die. Every time he saw the reaction of these elders, the 7th elder would have a resentful look on his face and said in a bad mood, nonsense. Of course you're not dead. Although his tone was a bit bad, seeing the elders he was familiar with wake up safely, the 7th elder was still very happy. However, only a small part of the Ning family elders had woken up, and nearly 2/3 of them were still asleep. This fact made him quite depressed. Ever since the elders had woken up one by one, the seventh elder's main task every day was to carefully observe the condition of the other elders who were still sleeping. His gaze was placed on those elders who were sleeping almost all day. Once he had time, he would stare at them without blinking, afraid that something would happen to them. Just like that, the days passed by. The number of Ning family elders who had woken up was increasing, and more than half of them had already woken up. However, the white rabbit did not appear, and the fish did not mention anything about sending them out of this place. Seeing this, Fengde couldn't help but ask. "Rabbit, come out." One day, Fengde finally exploded. A white light flashed, and a white rabbit appeared in front of Fengde, yawning. It said with a displeased look, "What is it? It's so late at night, can't we talk about it during the day? Can you send us out now?" Fengde said directly. "Do you really want to get out that badly?" The little white rabbit asked in surprise. "Of course. We've been here for a long time." Fengde gritted his teeth and couldn't take it anymore. "But there are still elders who haven't woken up. Are you not going to wait for them?" The little white rabbit said innocently. "Didn't you say that as long as half of the Ning family's elder awakens, we can go out?" Fengde asked. "That's right. If you want to go out now, I can send you out. But, after you go out, they're still here taking the test. Can you feel at ease?" The little white rabbit asked calmly. "Little rabbit, what do you mean? Are you going to let us out or not?" Fengde had run out of patience. He didn't want to play tongue twisters with a rabbit. "Of course I'll keep my promise and let you all out. However, there are still people who are undergoing the test. If you leave them here, aren't you a little disloyal?" The little white rabbit said with a smile. Fengde finally understood the white rabbit's meaning. The damned rabbit just wanted them to be loyal and continue to stay here with the sleeping elders. Although he really wanted to say that the life and death of those elders had nothing to do with him, if he really dared to say that, the rabbit would definitely have something else to say for him. Therefore, after thinking for a while, he obediently closed his mouth. "If any of you want to leave, tell me. I'll make the arrangements." Seeing that Fengde had fallen silent, the white rabbit spoke to the others who were still conscious. However, no one dared to respond to its words, because they were afraid that it would accuse them of being disloyal. So, they had no choice but to continue staying in the nightmare realm. After an unknown period of time, the elders who were still in deep sleep finally woke up. Just as they came back to their senses and figured out the truth of the matter, the fish told them a cruel truth. That was, their annual usage fee in this space had expired. All the elders were dumbfounded. "That fish. Do we have to pay too?" The seventh elder blinked his eyes and couldn't believe what he had just heard. He didn't hear wrong, did he? They had to pay again. Of course. Although our friendship is not bad, that is a different matter. The usage fee and our friendship are two different things, we can't mix them up. The fish said very seriously. "But we've already passed the test, haven't we?" The seventh elder could not help but ask. "You're right, but you haven't left this place. You have to pay for the entire day here, so don't even think about reneging on your debt." At the mention of money, the fish had a tendency to turn hostile. "Actually, I know that you're all staying here to guard them out of loyalty. So, logically speaking, your expenses should be paid by them. You can discuss it properly. Let me know when you've come to an agreement on who will pay the money. However, what I want to say is that your time is limited. In 2 days, the 3rd year will begin. If you haven't left this place by then, you'll have to pay an additional year's worth of money. Of course, you can also pay by the day, but the fee for the day will be higher." Immediately after, Yua reminded him with a smile. When the elders heard this, their faces turned green with anger. He was really a blood-sucking fish. They only know how to exploit their money. The elders suppressed their anger and looked at each other. Then, they said in unison, "Well, each pay our own bills." They couldn't stay here for another day. Chapter 1691, you saw through me. 1, all right. Then please write me an IOU. Yu laughed in a very pleased manner. Immediately after, a pen and paper appeared in front of each elder. Seeing this, the elders could only suppress their anger and write down another IOU. After writing the IOU, an elder asked impatiently, "Can we go out now?" "Yes. Don't worry. I'll send you out now," Yu said with a smile, clearly quite satisfied with their cooperation. "Wait. I want to ask you a question before I go out." At this time, another elder spoke. "What's the problem?" The fish was a little curious. It thought that the elders should have finished asking all their questions. "You asked us to pay, but did they?" The elder pointed at Fengde and the others. "They didn't hand it in." "What's wrong?" You are asked with a puzzled expression. "Why can they not hand it over?" The elder roared with jealousy. "Isn't it obvious? They're our own people, and we don't charge our own people." The fish said matter-of-factly, and its words also angered the elder who raised the question. If it was not for the seventh elder holding on tightly to the elder would have gone berserk. Can you release the 11th elder and let him come out with us?" The seventh elder wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and changed the topic. "No. He can't leave yet, he hasn't passed the Nightmare Realms test, so he has to stay here," the fish said, leaving no room for discussion. "When will he come out?" After the seventh elder finished asking, he felt that he had asked a very stupid question. After he passes the test, he can naturally leave this place. Although the seventh elder's question seemed a little idiotic to the fish, it still answered very seriously with a responsible attitude for its customers. "All right. If there are no other questions, I will send you out now," the fish said. "What about the 19th elder?" The seventh elder couldn't help but ask. "That old man isn't under my jurisdiction. He hasn't even passed the trial space yet. I probably won't be able to get out in this lifetime," the fish said honestly. "Then, please take care of the 11th and 19th elders," the seventh elder said helplessly. "I'll take care of it if I can, but I can't possibly go easy on you," Yu said with absolute certainty. "Then I'll thank you first." Although he didn't get the satisfactory answer he wanted, the seventh elder didn't dare to throw away the proper etiquette. "Ha ha ha. You're too polite, old man. However, before I leave, I still have something to tell you. You must be single-hearted, you can't be half-hearted, you can't be two-timing, and you can't eat what's in the bowl while looking at what's in the pot. So, when you get out, you should live well with that old man. As for this one here, don't think about it anymore," the fish said earnestly. Its words made the seventh elder extremely depressed. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. Why did this fish still remember this? Seeing that it hadn't mentioned it for so long, he thought it had forgotten. Only now did he know that she still remembered. Sigh. He sighed heavily. In this period of time, the number of times he sighed was more than all the times he had sighed in his entire life. How did this happen? He really couldn't understand it. However, although Yuer's words made the seventh elder very depressed, it was like a joke to Fengde and the others. However, they were embarrassed to laugh too obviously because of the seventh elder. Thanks, seeing how everyone was trying to hold back their laughter, the seventh elder sighed heavily. Ai. His brows were so tightly knitted that they were about to come together. Hee hee. I'll send you guys out. At this time, Yu said with a smirk. A white light flashed in front of everyone's eyes, and in the next second, they had already appeared outside the Ning family's main residence. Seeing the familiar environment, the elders felt a huge weight lift off their shoulders. They thought to themselves, that's good. They had not been teleported to any other place. They had finally returned. Although they had not lived here for a long time, they felt a sense of familiarity here, especially after the torture they had experienced in the illusory sky. This place was so familiar that they almost cried. To be honest, they had never felt so deeply about the Ning family's residence. Just as all the elders were lost in their thoughts, the Leng family's main residence's doors suddenly opened. Leng Ruoxue and the demon walked out together. "Grandpa, brother." Leng Ruoxue said happily with a smile. "Shuai-er. Grandpa has missed you so much." After Leng Qingtian finished speaking, he pulled his precious granddaughter into his arms. However, before he could get enough of her, the granddaughter in his arms was snatched away by his grandson. "You little brat. You're actually snatching her away from Grandpa." Leng Qingtian glared at Leng Ruhan, his face full of dissatisfaction. "Grandpa. I also miss my little sister." Leng Ruhan laughed nonchalantly as he hugged Leng Ruoxue even tighter. Although the evildoer beside him was glaring at him, he ignored him completely. "Shuai is mine." The demon was burning with jealousy. He snatched Leng Ruoxue from Leng Ruhan's arms and hugged her tightly. Seeing his nervous look, Leng Qingtian and the others could not help but laugh. "Ha ha ha. She's my granddaughter." Leng Qingtian laughed. "Mmh. She's my sister." Leng Ruhan added. "So what? Shuai is mine." The demon was like a child whose toy was about to be taken away, protecting his food. Freak. When she saw the demon's expression, Leng Ruoxue actually felt embarrassed. Ha ha ha. This time, everyone laughed even more happily. "You guys are finally out." Suddenly, the second elder's voice rang in everyone's ears. Everyone turned around in unison and saw the second elder's excited face, his eyes burning as he looked at everyone. Ugh! Why was this old man so excited? Feng De and the others were very confused. It was reasonable for him to be excited when he saw the Ning family elders come out of the illusory sky unscathed, but why was he excited when he saw them? This fact made them feel a little overwhelmed. Second elder. When the seventh elder saw the second elder, his eyes were also filled with tears. When everyone saw him like this, they actually thought that if Yu was here, they were afraid that he would misunderstand their relationship again. "It's good that you're out. It's good that you're out." The second elder looked at them and touched them. Seeing that they were safe and sound, he could finally put his heart at ease. Why hasn't the 11th elder come out yet? The second elder couldn't help but worry when he didn't see the 11th elder in the group of elders. Second elder. Before we came out, you were told the 7th elder to live a good life with you and not to think about the 11th elder. You can't cross two boats with one foot. It's wrong to eat in the bowl while looking at the pot. Feng De replied with an evil smile. Chapter 1692, You Saw Through Me, too. After hearing Feng De's words, the second elder's forehead was filled with black lines. He felt even more depressed in his heart. The 11th elder was his brother. My condolences, elder. Feng De patted the second elder's shoulder and said with sympathy. What's there to mourn? The second elder didn't react for a moment and asked in a daze. Don't keep thinking about the 11th elder, just treat it as if he doesn't exist. Feng De explained more clearly. He's my brother. He's a member of the Ning family, and he's not dead. How can we pretend that he doesn't exist? The second elder was so angry that his eyes were wide open as he roared. But the fish has already determined that you and the 7th elder are a couple, so, Feng De did not finish his sentence, but he knew that the second elder would understand. It can't come out, so what's the matter? The second elder said disapprovingly. The 11th elder can't come out either. Don't forget that the old man is in the hands of the fish. Feng De couldn't help but remind him. AI. The second elder sighed helplessly. He felt even more depressed. Little girl, what do you think we should do about this? The second elder's gaze turned towards Leng Ruoxue as he asked with a face full of anticipation. Second elder. I can't do anything about this. Let's wait for the 11th elder to come out. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Isn't that something you refined? How can you not have a way? The second elder asked in disbelief. It's true that I made the fantasy sky, but everything there was set in advance. As the master, I can't change the settings for someone. If you change your mind like this, the space managers there will lose their way. Leng Ruoxue said seriously. Is there no other way? The second elder said, unwilling to give up. Unless the 11th elder passes the test of the nightmare realm, there's no other way. Leng Ruoxue understood. What about the 19th elder? What about him? The second elder then asked about the other elder who was more unlucky. He's the same. Although Xiaobai wants to keep him inside, if the 19th elder can pass the trial space and the test of the nightmare realm, he can still come out. Otherwise, it's really possible that he'll be trapped inside for the rest of his life, just like Xiaobai said. Leng Ruoxue said with a hint of sympathy. Second elder. You don't have to worry about those two old men, they'll only suffer a bit of torture inside, suffering a bit of physical pain, there shouldn't be any life-threatening danger. Of course, if they can't pass the test of the nightmare realm, then it'll be another matter. Feng De consoled. Then, he turned to Leng Ruoxue and said, Miss. I'm going to go into seclusion for a few days. I should be breaking through soon. N. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Miss. I'm also going into seclusion. Shuai. Grandfather also needs to go into seclusion. With Feng Die's lead, Ling Qingtian and the others began to speak one after another. All of them had only one purpose, and that was to go into seclusion. Their cultivation had made great progress in the illusionary sky. Although they had not really made a breakthrough, they were not far from it. Moreover, they had also touched the barrier of a breakthrough. However, they did not have the conditions to make a breakthrough in the illusionary sky, nor could they feel the laws of heaven and earth. Therefore, they had waited until they came out of there before they decided to go into seclusion and prepare for a breakthrough. Grandpa. Then all of you can go back to your rooms and cultivate in seclusion. When Leng Ruoxue heard this, she hurriedly urged. Good. Then let's go into seclusion for a while. After we break through, we'll have a good chat. Ling Qingtian said impatiently. He was the first to rush into the room, followed by the others. Thanks seeing that her grandfather and the rest had left, Leng Ruoxue smiled at the 7th elder and the rest, all the elders must be tired, go back to your rooms and have a good rest. Then we'll go back to our room first. The 7th elder said. They were indeed a little tired, mainly because the pressure during this period of time was too great. Now, they finally had a chance to catch their breath. Leng Ruoxue nodded and watched as the elders went into their respective houses. Only then did she pull the evildoer back into the courtyard. However, after entering the courtyard, Leng Ruoxue realized that there seemed to be someone missing. She did not seem to have seen Qingxian. Freak. Did you see Qingxian? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. I saw it. The demon nodded, but he was laughing in his heart. He liked it when Shuai didn't notice the existence of other men, hee. Where is he? Leng Ruoxue asked speechlessly. Was it because Qingxian was too unremarkable, or was it because she had bad eyesight? She didn't see Qingxian. Him. He's hiding among Feng De and the others. The demon chuckled. Oh. Leng Ruoxue responded softly and stopped paying attention to Qingxian's whereabouts. A month later. Feng De and the others all became god-tier masters as they wished. Leng Ruoxue was elated to see that their cultivation was above hers. She joked, you can protect me when you're stronger than me. Don't worry, miss. We'll definitely protect you. Feng De was the first to express his opinion. MMH. It's our responsibility to protect Miss. Lin Yuan and the rest also echoed. Ha ha ha. Then I'll be relying on you guys in the future. Leng Ruoxue smiled and played along. Miss. You don't need their protection. The 4 of us will be enough. At this time, Grape also said confidently. During this period of quiet cultivation, she and Lotus Seed had reaped great harvests. The two of them were now at the Divine Lord realm. This was something they did not even dare to imagine in the past. After being together with the young lady, their cultivation speed was like a rocket, soaring rapidly. There's no need to snatch. I need both. Leng Ruoxue smiled and tried to smooth things over. Seeing how Fengde and Grape were at daggers drawn, she was really afraid that they would start a fight. Hee hee. Fengde and the others laughed foolishly. Miss. Let's have a good celebration today. Yu Qing said happily. The current her was already a divine emperor. This was naturally due to her master's previous advancement. Good. You guys go and prepare. With Leng Ruoxue's order, Fengde and the rest immediately took action. After a while, everyone quickly prepared the food, and Fengde personally went to invite the second elder and the others, planning to celebrate with them. In the garden, Fengde and the rest were singing and dancing happily. However, Qing Xian was hiding by his feet alone. When Leng Ruoxue caught a glimpse of him, she pulled the evildoer along and walked towards Qing Xian. Young Master Cheng. Congratulations on advancing to the Divine Emperor realm. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Thank you. Qing Xian said indifferently, his expression extremely lonely. Chapter 1693, You Saw Through Me, 3. Seeing him like this, Leng Ruoxue was even more puzzled. What was wrong with Qing Xian? Wasn't advancing to the Divine Emperor realm enough to make him happy? What happened that she didn't know about? As far as she knew, Qing Xian had been staying in the Nightmare Realm with Fengde and the others all this time. Nothing should have happened, right? Fengde and the others would not bully him. Young Master Cheng. Do you have something on your mind? Leng Ruoxue guessed. Great Aunt. Thank you, Qing Xian said without thinking. Ah. For what? Leng Ruoxue was getting more and more confused. Thank you for reminding me of the past. I thought I had forgotten about it. Qing Xian's handsome face had a touch of sadness, and he was surrounded by a deep sense of loneliness. Since it's an unhappy matter, don't think about it anymore. Leng Ruoxue sighed softly and consoled him. She understood what Qing Xian was saying. He must have recalled some bad memories when he was in the Nightmare Realm. However, the fact that he was able to wake up from those memories was enough to show that he had already let go. Otherwise, those memories would have become his inner demons. Qing Xian nodded. There were some things that he didn't need to think about, but there were some people that he didn't want to let go of. But those people. Great Aunt. What would you do if someone in your family hurt the most important person to you? Qing Xian couldn't help but ask. This matter had been buried in his heart for a long time. Now that he suddenly remembered it, he realized that he couldn't continue to be so muddled. Some things had to be solved sooner or later. However, he was very conflicted because those people were his enemies and his family. How important is it? What kind of family members did they have? Leng Ruoxue asked after some thought. Like parents. Qing Xian hesitated for a moment before saying. If someone hurts my parents, I will not let the enemy off. No matter who he is. Leng Ruoxue replied without hesitation. What if the enemy is also your family? And they're very closely related? Qing Xian continued to ask. Then we can't let him go. No matter what reason he has, he can't hurt someone else's parents, not to mention a blood relative. This kind of behavior is even more shameful. Leng Ruoxue said with a look of disdain. If I kill my own family to avenge my parents, will I be spurned by the world? Qing Xian couldn't help but ask. There will definitely be people who disagree. However, why should we care so much about what others think? It's enough to live freely. Leng Ruoxue said disapprovingly. From her point of view, not avenging one's parents' deaths by clinging on to one's bloodline was the greatest unfilial act towards one's parents. Furthermore, not all family members were good and worthy of being treated with sincerity. To those cruel and unscrupulous relatives, they could not be measured by kinship. For a family like ours, I'm afraid it's very difficult to live as we please. Qing Xian sighed. Whether you can't do it or not will depend on your understanding. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. I know. Qing Xian nodded. As the young master of the Qing family, he had a lot of responsibilities. Hence, even though he wanted to live a carefree life like Leng Ruoxue, as long as he was the young master of the Qing family, he would not be able to do so. Qing Xian. You've all broken through, so you should celebrate. Don't think about those unhappy things from the past, go and have fun with them. Leng Ruoxue reminded him. When she said this, she felt like she was Qing Xian's elder. It was a weird feeling. Great aunt. Thank you. In an instant, Qing Xian seemed to have recovered his usual personality of wanting the world to be in chaos as he spoke passionately. You're welcome. After all, you call me great aunt. Leng Ruoxue laughed lightly as she teased. After hearing this, Qing Xian's forehead was filled with black lines, and the corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. Actually, the reason why he called Leng Ruoxue great aunt was purely for fun. He didn't really want to call her that. After all, Leng Ruoxue was much younger than him. Ha ha ha. Seeing Qing Xian's depressed expression, Leng Ruoxue laughed happily. Then, she pulled the evildoer back to her room. The next day, when the two of them walked out of the room, they saw that more than half of the people in the garden were drunk. Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with black lines when she saw this scene. He couldn't get drunk after drinking a little wine. Fortunately, they were at home. If they were outside, wouldn't they be in danger? At the thought of this, Leng Ruoxue decided to give them a good lesson. She pulled the evildoer to sit down on a stone chair in the courtyard. They ate snacks and drank tea while waiting for them to wake up. It was almost evening when the drunk people slowly woke up. However, when they woke up, their minds were not very clear and their eyes were in a daze. It was only when they saw Leng Ruoxue who was not far away that they suddenly woke up. They were drunk again. Thanks, miss. Feng De and the rest quickly got up from the ground and walked to Leng Ruoxue like a little wife, calling out softly. N. Leng Ruoxue replied indifferently and did not have any other reaction after that. Miss. We were wrong. Feng De and the others said pitifully. What did you do wrong? Leng Ruoxue asked, pretending not to know anything. We shouldn't be so drunk that we're unconscious. Feng De and the rest replied honestly. Looking at the expressionless Leng Ruoxue, their hearts trembled. Since you know, why did you get drunk? This isn't the first time, right? Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. We were too happy, so we couldn't help but drink too much. Feng De and the others explained. I can't help it. Fortunately, we're at home, so even if you're drunk, you won't be in any danger. If we're outside, and you're drunk like this, who can you cry to when you lose your little lives? Leng Ruoxue's tone changed and became stern. We're not outside, right? Before Feng De and the others dared to speak, an elder who had a good time drinking with them yesterday couldn't help but plead. Even if you're at home, you should have some self-discipline. Otherwise, once you're outside, it's easy to lose control of your emotions. If you cause trouble, it'll be too late for you to regret it. Besides, it's not that you're not allowed to drink, but I hope you can keep a clear head while drinking. After all, you're not ordinary people who don't cultivate. As cultivators, you can encounter danger at any time, so you must always be on guard. Even if you're at home, you shouldn't be too indulgent. You should know that not all relatives are good, there are also some who can stab you in the back. Leng Ruoxue said earnestly. She was not only saying this to Feng De and the rest, but also to Qing Xian and the elders of the Ning family. Her words made Feng De and the others feel extremely ashamed, while Qing Xian and the elders of the Ning family were deep in thought, because no one knew better than them that sometimes relatives were more shameless and vicious than outsiders. It's not that I want to teach you a lesson. Other than my family, you're the most important people to me, so I hope that you'll be on guard at all times. After all, the divine realm is not as beautiful as we think. I really hope that one day, you'll be able to stand at the peak of the divine realm with me. I don't want to see any of you in danger of losing your lives. Leng Ruoxue asked seriously after seeing that they were all silent. Miss. We won't leave you, we'll always be by your side, the future of the divine realm will definitely be ours. Fengde and the others suddenly roared with an imposing manner. Even the Ning family elders who heard this felt their aura rise. A wave of hot blood boiled in their blood. In an instant, they seemed to have become a few hundred years younger. Remember your words today. Leng Ruoxue nodded in satisfaction. Don't worry, miss. In the future, we won't get drunk casually, even if we're happy. Furthermore, even if we drink too much, we must find the way back to our room. We will never sleep in the garden again. Fengde promised. However, his promise made Leng Ruoxue laugh. Not to find the door to the room, but to keep a clear mind. Leng Ruoxue didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she corrected him. Yes. Fengde and the others quickly nodded. All right. Don't stand here anymore, go back to your rooms and rest. Leng Ruoxue could not bear to see them so listless and drunk. Miss. Then let's go back to our room and have a good sleep. When we're completely awake, we'll come to see you. Fengde said with a fawning smile. Go. Leng Ruoxue nodded. After watching Fengde and the rest leave, Leng Ruoxue turned around and looked at the Ning family elder who was still standing at the same spot. She could not help but ask curiously, why are you guys still here? Ah. Well, leave immediately. The second elder said with an embarrassed look. They were lost in their thoughts and didn't react for a moment. After saying that, the second elder led the other elders back to their own residence. Schwer. The second elder and the others seem to be afraid of you. After the Ning family's elders also left, the demon laughed and teased. Afraid of me? I didn't do anything to them, why would they be afraid of me? Leng Ruoxue asked with a puzzled look. Ah. Maybe it's because you're too charming. The demon wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and thought to himself, you haven't done anything to them yet? They've been tormented to death by you. Are you saying in your heart that I've tormented them a lot? Leng Ruoxue saw the expression on the demon's face and knew what he was thinking. Hee hee. You've seen through me. The demon laughed awkwardly. Chapter 1694, The Arrival of Wind and Rain, 1, Didn't I tell you that I can read minds? However, I don't need to read your mind to know what you were thinking. Leng Ruoxue laughed lightly as she teased. This only shows that our hearts are connected. The demon said proudly. Look at how beautiful you are. Leng Ruoxue was speechless. I'm proud, I'm proud. The demon said with a thick face. Just as the two of them were teasing each other, there was a sudden rush of knocking on the door, followed by the sound of anxious footsteps heading towards the garden. Miss Leng. A slightly hoarse voice suddenly sounded. Ning Yan. What are you doing here? Leng Ruoxue sized up the uninvited guest and saw that Ning Yan's body was covered in dust and his face was haggard. What was going on? She was filled with doubts. Cultivators usually paid a lot of attention to their appearance, and very few cultivators would be so slovenly. Her impression of Ning Yan was that he was a person who paid a lot of attention to his appearance, so she really couldn't guess what was wrong with him. Miss Leng. Something has happened. Ning Yan said anxiously. He even coughed a few times after he finished speaking. What happened? Don't be anxious, speak slowly. Leng Ruoxue gestured for Grape to pour a glass of water for Ning Yan. The master and some of our Ning family's elders have all gone missing. Ning Yan said with a pained expression. Missing? How did Godfather go missing? With Godfather's strength, there are very few people in the divine realm who can be his match. After listening to Ning Yan's words, Leng Ruoxue still asked calmly. After all, in her impression, her godfather was not an irresponsible person who would cause others to worry. So, she would never believe that godfather would disappear for no reason. I don't want to believe that the patriarch and some of the elders have gone missing either, but we can't contact them no matter how hard we try. Furthermore, some of the elders have already died and their jade plates of life have been shattered. If it wasn't for that, I'm afraid that we wouldn't have discovered the disappearance of the patriarch and the others. Ning Yan explained. Godfather wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. Did he disappear in the Ning family or go somewhere else? Leng Ruoxiu asked again. The master took some of the Ning family's elders to a newly discovered secret realm. If I'm not mistaken, they should have disappeared there. Ning Yan replied. A secret realm? What secret realm? Leng Ruoxiu's face was filled with suspicion. Whenever she heard the term secret realm, she would have a bad feeling. That secret realm is newly discovered. Only a few people know about it now. Only the higher-ups of the 8 divine regions and the headquarters know about it. Therefore, it's extremely confidential. Ning Yan continued. Then how did you guys find out? Leng Ruoxiu was very curious. This secret realm was first discovered by the Wen family. Then, they informed the 8 divine regions and the headquarters. After that, the people from the 8 divine regions and the headquarters came to an agreement to explore the secret realm together. Ning Yan said helplessly. In fact, before they went to the mystery land, the Ning family had 2 opinions. One was in favor of it, and the other was naturally against it. After all, an unknown mystery land was very dangerous. However, after considering that they would be going with the powerhouses from the 8 great divine regions, and that the 2 largest and most powerful headquarters in the divine realm, the craftsman's headquarters and the alchemist's headquarters, would also send people, they reached a unified opinion. However, they did not expect that something would happen in the end. Would the Wen family be so kind? Leng Ruoxiu squinted her beautiful eyes as she asked in confusion. Thanks, since the Wen family dared to tell this to the higher-ups of the 8 great divine domains and the headquarters, they probably wouldn't dare to lie. Otherwise, they would definitely become the public enemy of the divine realm and have no place to stand in the divine realm. Ning Yan said with absolute certainty. This was also the main reason why those who knew about the secret realm dared to trust the Wen family. So you're saying that the disappearance of Godfather and the Ning family's elders was an accident? Leng Ruoxiu raised her brows and asked indifferently. It's an undiscovered secret realm. Unless it's someone who has been there personally, we don't know what's there. So, we can only regard the disappearance of the family head and the others as an accident. Ning Yan sighed. Ning Yan, do you still remember the Snowy Mountain secret realm a few years ago? It's also a secret realm that has never been discovered by anyone, but the accident there was man-made. Leng Ruoxiu reminded. Miss Leng, do you mean that this accident was also man-made? Ning Yan's eyes were wide open, and he couldn't believe it. A few years ago, he had stayed behind to guard the Ning family's secret realm and didn't participate in it personally, but he had heard about it. However, those who were tricked into the secret realm were all cultivators with low cultivation, but this time, almost all the strong cultivators in the divine world had gone, including many alchemists and alchemists from the Alchemist Guild headquarters. With such strength, it would not be easy to cause a man-made accident, right? I'm not sure if it's a man-made accident, but as long as I hear the word, secret realm, I have an uncomfortable feeling. I keep feeling that this secret realm that appeared out of nowhere is not that simple. Most importantly, she didn't trust the Wen family head. Perhaps Godfather and the rest thought that the Wen family head wouldn't dare to lie to them, or perhaps they were too confident in their own abilities and decided to explore the mystic realm with him without fear even if they were deceived. But no matter which one it was, she didn't agree with it. Miss Leng, the master once suspected that this secret realm was not as simple as it seemed, but, before Ning Yan could finish his sentence, Leng Ruoxiu interrupted him. But he still went, right? Does Godfather think that with his strength, he's not afraid even if there's danger, and that self-protection is not a problem? Leng Ruoxiu said. Yes. Ning Yen said in a low voice. Miss Leng had guessed it right. It seemed that Miss Leng really understood the master. The head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild also went. Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. Yes. Basically, all the patriarchs of the 8 great divine domains have gone. The various headquarters have also sent quite a number of people. The Armament Guild is personally led by the Great Elder. Ning Yen said. In this case, Godfather is even less afraid of any conspiracies. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so at ease to follow them. Leng Ruoxue sighed. Yes. Furthermore, the Patriarch has also taken away some of the elders. Ning Yen nodded. You just said that some of the elders have already died? Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. 2 of the elders have already met with mishaps. Ning Yen said with a pained expression. How strong are the 2 elders? Leng Ruoxue asked again. Among the elders that the Patriarch brought with him, they are the weakest. Ning Yen replied honestly, even though he did not quite understand why Leng Ruoxue asked him this. It seems that there are only 2 possibilities. One is that they have encountered real danger and everyone's situation is very critical. The other is that they may have encountered danger, but it is not enough to immediately kill them. They are just trapped inside. As for the elders who died, if they were not killed by the enemy, then they are trying to send you a message. But we cannot rule out that this is the enemy's plot. Leng Ruoxue analyzed. No matter what their goal was, the Ning family already knew that someone had died. Hence, the Ning family would definitely try their best to find out the truth or send people to the secret realm. If the other party wanted to use this method to attract more people to go there, it had to be said that they had achieved their goal. Chapter 1695, The Arrival of Wind and Rain, 2, Miss Leng. What do we do now? After listening to Leng Ruoxue's analysis, Ning Yen was even more worried. What's your Ning family's decision? Leng Ruoxue did not answer and asked instead. Although she was worried about her godfather's whereabouts, he was still the ancestor of the Ning family. The elders of the Ning family might not be willing to let her get involved in this matter. Who asked her to have such strength? How could the Ning family trust her? The Elders Guild has decided to send another group of people to the secret realm. Ning Yen said honestly. Oh. Ning Yen, you're the one who came to me on your own accord, aren't you? Leng Ruoxue said. The young master and I both had the same idea, and the acting master agreed. However, the other people in the Ning family didn't agree, so I sneaked out. Ning Yen said, a little embarrassed. Even you have to sneak out? Who's in charge of the Ning family now? Leng Ruoxue asked in confusion. As far as she knew, although Ning Yen was the chief butler of the Ning family's forbidden area, his status in the Ning family was not lower than those elders. Other than the 10 great elders of the Ning family, the other elders had to be polite to him. After all, he was a favorite of the old ancestor. No matter who you offended, you could never offend him. It's the 3rd elder. Ning Yen told him the truth. The 3rd elder? Wasn't that old man always in seclusion? When did you come out? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but ask. The Ning family had a total of 10 elders with extraordinary status. The Great Elder often went deep into the mountains and forests, and his shadow was almost never seen in the Ning family. Thus, the Ning family's elder council had always been dominated by the 2nd elder. However, ever since the 2nd elder was dismissed from his position as an elder by Godfather, the Elder Council had become a group of dragons without a leader. Godfather had also handed him, the 7th elder, and the rest to her, so the number of elders in the Ning family's Elder Council was even pitifully small. As for the other 10 great elders, except for the Great Elder who was in some unknown corner, the others were all in seclusion in the forbidden area, including the 3rd elder. But unexpectedly, this old man had come out of seclusion now and even took charge of the Ning family's affairs. Even the acting master and the young master of the Ning family had been thrown aside by him. This was not a good sign. As she had never seen 3rd elder before, Leng Ruoxue could not comment on his intentions. However, it was still a little inappropriate for the Elders Guild to interfere in the daily affairs of the Ning family on behalf of the acting family master and the young master. If it was used by someone with ulterior motives, it was very likely that third elder had the intention to replace them. This was very detrimental to the unity of a huge family. The third elder has already come out of seclusion. If I'm not wrong, someone must have informed him that something has happened to the family. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended his seclusion for no reason. Ning Yan guessed. So he's very much in favor of sending people to the secret realm? Len Ruoxue asked with a smile. He was the one who insisted on sending more people to the secret realm. He said that we can't let the Ning family die without knowing why, and we can't let the master go missing. Ning Yan confessed. Oh. Apart from the Ning family's elders who died, did anyone else from the other families die? Len Ruoxue asked the question she was most concerned about. An elder from the Cheng family died as well. As for whether the other families and the headquarters have lost anyone, I didn't hear about it when I came to the godly mainland. Ning Yan said. Oh. Len Ruoxue nodded, then fell into deep thought. Although some people had died in the Snowy Mountain secret realm a few years ago, they were much weaker than this time. Among the elders who had died, the weakest was probably a divine emperor. From this, one could imagine the danger of this secret realm. Thanks, although she didn't know what the third elder was thinking, if it was her, she wouldn't have sent anyone. After all, even her godfather was trapped in there. No matter how many people went, it would just be a meat bun hitting a dog. There would be no return. Therefore, it was not a wise decision to send more people to the secret realm. Ning Yan, thank you for your hard work. I'll have someone take you to your room to get some rest. We'll discuss this later. All right. Ning Yan nodded and left the garden with Lotus. After Ning Yan had left, Len Ruoxue turned her gaze to the evildoer and asked, Demon, what do you think of this? Shuai. Do you want to hear the truth? The demon asked with a faint smile. Of course. Len Ruoxue pretended to be unhappy as she pouted her pink lips. She was trying to keep him in suspense. She didn't want to hear the truth, but did she want to hear lies? Shuai. How could a mystic realm be discovered so easily? A true secret realm is a gift from nature and is formed naturally. A secret realm cannot be considered a true secret realm without hundreds of thousands of years or even longer. The demon said softly. In just a few years, a secret realm was discovered on the divine continent. Now, another secret realm has appeared in the divine realm. If secret realms can be discovered so frequently, wouldn't they become huge radishes? The demon added. So you also suspect that there's something wrong with this mystic realm? Len Ruoxue laughed. It's not a problem, but a big problem. The demon said with absolute certainty. Now he was a little angry with that old man from the Ning family. He relied on his own strength to ignore the danger and even made Shuai worry for him. This was preposterous. When he found that old man, he had to teach him a good lesson. Otherwise, it would be hard to dispel the anger in his heart. AI. We know that there's a problem, but we can't not go. Who asked Godfather to be inside? I can't just leave him alone. Len Ruoxue said pitifully. Her beautiful eyes would steal glances at the evildoer from time to time, observing the expression on his face. Hee. Do you really think I'll stop you? Although I really don't want you to take the risk, I know you well. If I don't let you go, you might secretly run away behind my back. In that case, I might as well go with you. With me here, I can also protect you. The demon said helplessly, his expression full of love. He understood Shuai and knew that she valued family very much. Although that old man was only a godfather, he truly loved Shuai, and Shuai also treated him as a real family member. How could Shuai not save her family member when she was in trouble? If Shuai didn't have the universal bracelet, he might not be so at ease. However, with the bracelet, No matter what kind of danger she was in, Shuai would not be in too much danger. If she really encountered a situation that she couldn't handle, she could just hide in the bracelet and no one would be able to find her. Freak. You're so good. You have to protect me well. After hearing the demon's words, Len Ruoxue took the initiative to throw herself into his arms and acted coquettishly. Her initiative made the demon extremely pleased. The demon hugged Shuai tightly in satisfaction and couldn't help but sigh. The benefits that satisfied Shuai were really good. Hee. In the future, he would have to do more of these things to please Shuai. This way, his benefits would roll in. Chapter 1696, The Arrival of Wind and Rain, 3. After the two of them came to an agreement, Len Ruoxue gathered everyone in the living room the next day to discuss the matter. In the living room, the Ning family's elders looked at Len Ruoxue in confusion. They did not know why she had called them over. However, if Len Ruoxue didn't speak, they wouldn't take the initiative to ask either. Hence, the atmosphere turned heavy. After a long while. Only then did Len Ruoxue slowly open her mouth. Actually, she had not said anything all this while because she did not know how to tell them about this. Something has happened to the Ning family. Len Ruoxue said softly. After she finished speaking, her beautiful eyes were fixed on the elders present, observing their reactions. What? Can you repeat that? The elders' expressions changed drastically, thinking that they had heard wrong. The Ning family is in trouble. The whereabouts of Godfather and the others are unknown, and the Ning family has lost 2 elders. Len Ruoxue repeated. This time, she was even more clear. This is impossible. The old ancestor rarely had any opponents in the immortal realm, so it was absolutely impossible for him to go missing. Don't tease us. How can you joke about this? The second elder roared in anger. He was so agitated that his face was flushed red. However, he would not believe Len Ruoxue's words. I'm not joking. It's true. Ning Yan said it himself, unless you doubt his words. Len Ruoxue pulled a long face and said unhappily. It wasn't April Fool's Day today, so why did she have the mood to make fun of these old men? Miss Leng is not joking. At this moment, Ning Yan walked in and heard their conversation. He quickly said, Ning Yan. What are you doing here? You, the second elder became even more excited when he saw Ning Yan. However, he didn't dare to ask any more questions, because he was afraid that he would hear bad news from Ning Yan's mouth. This could be considered a lie to himself. Second elder, something big has happened in the Ning family. The master and the others have gone missing, and 2 elders have died. I've come to inform you of this news. Ning Yan explained, his face still looking haggard. So, this matter is true. How did this happen? The second elder's face turned pale after hearing this. Seeing this, Ning Yan repeated what he had said to Len Ruoxue the day before to the other elders. After the elders heard this, they were silent for a long time. After a long time, the second elder spoke with a trembling voice, Master. No. The head of the family and the elders will be fine. Right. With the master around, they would be fine. Isn't the jade plate of life of the master still in good condition? They'll be safe and sound. Some of the elders who had also suffered a blow quickly echoed after hearing the second elder's words. Master. You can't let anything happen to you. All of a sudden, an elder started wailing. The other elders who were holding on had their eyes reddened as well. Tears were already welling up in their eyes. All of you, calm down. Now that Godfather is only missing, who are you trying to show by looking like you've just fainted? Len Ruoxue couldn't stand it any longer and shouted angrily. Nothing had really happened to Godfather yet, and they were already like a group of dragons without a leader. This was really infuriating. Moreover, she had asked them to come here to discuss some matters, not to see them cry and shout. Len Ruoxue's words made many elders so ashamed that they wished they could find a hole to hide in. Even though they wanted to calm down and not embarrass themselves, this was because the family head meant a lot to them. Aside from being the ancestor of the Ning family, the master of the Ning family was also the pillar and backbone of the Ning family. They simply couldn't imagine what the Ning family would be like without their ancestor. Therefore, when they first heard that their ancestor had gone missing, the only feeling they had was fear. I called you here to discuss how to deal with this matter. Now, the third elder of the Ning family is in charge, and he has already decided to send people to explore the secret realm. I want to hear your opinions. When Leng Ruoxue saw that they were slowly calming down, she finally revealed her main motive. Go. We also want to go to the secret realm. We must save the patriarch and the other elders. The moment Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, an elder immediately spoke up. Thanks, Save Godfather. Can you guys do it? Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of disdain. The moment she heard this, she knew that this was someone who didn't have his own opinions. His mind wasn't clear enough either. To put it bluntly, this was someone who liked to cause a ruckus and follow the crowd. Why not us? Even the weakest among us is a divine emperor. If even we can't save the patriarch, the others won't stand a chance. That person said, extremely unconvinced. But, Godfather's strength is above all of you. He also went missing in the secret realm. If you go, won't you also be sending yourselves to your deaths? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with mockery. If you're all trapped inside, then the Ning family really has no hope. Is this the result you want to see? Or is it not enough that you've seen Godfather go missing, and you want to anger him to death? Leng Ruoxue added without holding back. Then what do you suggest we do? The elder who spoke was a little angry. Fuck. He couldn't go, and he couldn't not go either. Wouldn't this put him in a difficult position? Little girl, do you have any good ideas? The second elder asked as he looked at Leng Ruoxue expectantly. Second elder. Do you also have the same thoughts as the third elder and want to personally explore the secret realm? Leng Ruoxue retorted. I do have that idea, but, as you said, our strength is not as strong as the patriarch's, and he has gone missing in there. If we go in too, it will be the same as giving it to him for free. That's why I can't make a decision now. The second elder said honestly. Second elder. Since you want to hear my suggestion, then I'll tell you. My opinion is that none of you should go there. Leng Ruoxue suggested. As for whether these people would accept her suggestion or not, it was not up to her to decide. Not going. Then what can we do? We can't just stand by and watch our clansmen get into trouble, can we? The second elder said worriedly. No one knows what happened to the secret realm. No one knows whether the elder who died committed suicide or was killed. However, no matter what the reason is, the Ning family can't panic. So, at this time, you should stay in the family to prevent the enemy from taking advantage of the situation. Leng Ruoxue said calmly. You mean, this could be a conspiracy? The second elder immediately understood what was going on after hearing Leng Ruoxue's words. However, if what Leng Ruoxue said was true and this was a plot against the Ning family or all the top forces in the divinity, then the person who planned this must be very ambitious. I can't be sure if it's a conspiracy, but I wonder if Second Elder still remembers the Snowy Mountain secret realm from a few years ago. Back then, many families and forces on the godly mainland were involved. It was a conspiracy. Leng Ruoxue reminded. I've heard about that too, but we still haven't found the mastermind, right? Could the person behind these two secret realms be the same person? He remembered clearly that the master had attached great importance to that matter. Even after returning to the Ning family, his face was very ugly. Although they really wanted to know what had happened to make the master lose his composure, no one dared to ask. I'm just suspecting, I'm not sure. Leng Ruoxue sighed softly. If the person behind these two mystic realms was really the same person, then what was his objective? Second Elder. If the person behind these two secret realms is really the same person, then all the more you can't go there. Think about it, even Godfather can't do anything about that secret realm, what's the use of you going there? To put it bluntly, if Godfather can protect himself, you guys will only drag him down if you go. After some thought, Len Ruoxue said in an impolite manner. But if we don't do anything and just wait at home, we'll go crazy from worry. The second elder said with a conflicted expression. You're not just waiting at home, you're guarding the Ning family's base, understand? Len Ruoxue corrected him. I understand. However, they still had to send some people to explore the mystic realm, right? Otherwise, we won't be able to rest easy. The second elder said softly. When he said this, it was obvious that he did not have much confidence. Second elder. If news could be transmitted in the secret realm, Godfather and the others wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. So, I think it's useless even if you send people there. On the contrary, it will cause more Ning family members to be trapped inside. Thus, the best way is for you to be patient and plan before you act. Len Ruoxue said with a hint of disappointment. Moreover, it's not like no one has gone to the secret realm to explore it. Len Ruoxue laughed. Ah. Didn't you say that we're not allowed to go? The second elder was confused. Chapter 1697, The Third Elder, 1, I don't want you guys to go, but I didn't say I wasn't going. Len Ruoxue said with a smile. After hearing Len Ruoxue's words, all the elders' expressions turned ugly. There were even some elders who couldn't help but curse in their hearts. You don't want us to go, but you want to go by yourself. Do you think that your abilities are above us? However, even though they were slightly dissatisfied, no one would suspect that Len Ruoxue wanted to keep the secret of the mystic realm for herself, which was why she didn't allow them to go. This was because they knew very well that Len Ruoxue was not that kind of person. Even though they had not known each other for long, just based on the fact that Len Ruoxue was able to create such a miraculous item like the fantasy sky, she was not a simple character. Furthermore, she was richer than any of the elders present. Oh. They still owed Len Ruoxue a huge debt. Little girl. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but if you go to the mystic realm with your strength, then you won't be able to, the second elder said, a little embarrassed. In fact, what he wanted to say wasn't that the same as throwing your life away? However, after stammering for a long time, he couldn't bring himself to say the words, go and die. Second elder. My strength may not be as good as yours, but I have a way to save my life and I can guarantee that I can retreat safely in the secret realm. Do you dare to say that? Len Ruoxue asked with a smile. Ah. The second elder wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. They really did not dare to say that. However, he was still a little worried. He was very clear about Len Ruoxue's position in the family head's heart. If something happened to Len Ruoxue because she went to the mystic realm, wouldn't the family head swallow them alive when he came back and found out? In addition, they had so many deity emperors and reverent gods, yet they allowed a little girl with deity strength to take such a risk. If word of this got out, where would they put their faces? Second elder, no one is more suitable than me to go to that secret realm. Len Ruoxue took one look at the expressions on the elders' faces and knew what they were thinking. However, this was only human nature. After all, she was weak. It was only natural that they didn't believe him. Little girl, we don't know how dangerous that secret realm is. If something happens to you in there, how are we going to explain it to the family head? The second elder said, still worried. I don't need you to explain. Godfather knows me better than you. Len Ruoxue said with confidence. Then, what do we need to do? The second elder could tell that Len Ruoxue had made up her mind. Furthermore, after being with her for so long, he was very clear that Len Ruoxue was a person of her word. Since she had already decided on something, she wouldn't change her mind easily. Since that was the case, he and the rest of them would help her do something. At the very least, they would feel better. I do need your help with something. Len Ruoxue said with satisfaction. This old man, second elder, was so understanding. She should reward him. If you need any help, little girl, just tell us. We will do our best. The second elder quickly said. Second elder's words represent all the elders present. Leng Ruoxue wanted to confirm. N. The second elder's sharp gaze swept across the elders present, then he nodded and said. Very good. In fact, what I want you to do is very simple, that is to object to the third elder sending people to explore the mystery realm again. No matter what method you use, you must stop him. Don't let him add to my troubles. Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. Her serious and cautious tone caused the elders' hearts to shiver. This time, they were all clear that Leng Ruoxue wasn't joking. She really didn't want the Ning family to send anyone. Since the little girl has said so, then I will do everything I can to stop him. Don't worry. The second elder promised. Then I'll leave it to you guys. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Little girl, when are we going back to the divine realm? The second elder asked again. Tomorrow. Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Thanks, good. I'll take them back to their rooms to discuss a strategy. Well, meet at the door tomorrow morning. The second elder said. After he finished speaking, he left the hall with the other elders. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue and the rest were ready to set off when the sun had just risen. They sat on the flying beast and soon arrived at the teleportation array to the divine realm. After paying the teleportation fee, they were standing on the land of the divine realm in a short time. It was the first time Leng Qingtian and the others had come to the divine world, so they were very curious about it. However, everywhere they looked was a vast expanse of white, and their interest was immediately reduced. Ha ha ha. The morning fog of the divine realm has yet to disperse. Thus, you guys are still unable to see much of the scenery. Seeing Leng Qingtian and the others' troubled and depressed expressions, the second elder knew what they were thinking and could not help but laugh. The morning mist? Leng Qingtian and the others had question marks on their faces. Yup. The mornings in the divine realm are always like this. It'll be fine in a while. The second elder explained with a smile. Oh. Leng Qingtian and the others nodded in understanding. However, they didn't expect that the so-called a while would actually take them until noon. Because of the hierarch's lead, they would have already arrived at the Ning family's divine territory by then. Although they didn't see the beautiful scenery, they continued on their way without stopping due to the urgency of the matter. The second elder brought them along with a teleportation. After a few hours, they arrived at the Ning family's god domain. Wah! A reverent god's speed was indeed different. If we were to fly, it would probably take at least 3 to 5 days. Feng Da's eyes were shining as he stood outside the Ning family's divine domain city gates. He looked at the second elder with envy. However, the second elder was already so tired that he was out of breath. He didn't have the mood to care about Feng Da. If he wasn't afraid that he wouldn't be able to stop the third elder and the others from going to the secret realm in time, he wouldn't have made such a sacrifice. It should be known that such a long journey of teleportation consumed a lot of divine power and physical strength. Leng Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Feng Da, then looked at the second elder, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, panting heavily and regulating his breathing. She took out a bottle of divine power replenishing pills and passed it to the second elder. However, the second elder was very careful and did not dare to reach out to take it. I don't have any money. The second elder swallowed his saliva with envy and said in embarrassment. This is for you. When Leng Ruoxue heard second elder's words, she wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead and said in a speechless manner. For me? Hee hee. How can I accept that? The second elder beamed with joy. He snatched the bottle of pills from Leng Ruoxue's hand and kept it in his storage ring. I say, old man. You should eat one. You're so weak right now, you don't want us to carry you, do you? Feng Da couldn't help but ask when he saw the second elder's miser-like appearance. I don't need you to carry me. I'll be fine after resting for a while, so I don't need to take any pills. The second elder said hurriedly. There were no enemies now, so how could he casually eat medicinal pills? Furthermore, the pills that Leng Ruoxue had taken out were all good stuff. Even when compared to elixirs of the same grade, the quality was obviously much higher. Hence, he was naturally reluctant to eat it. Furthermore, when he held the bottle of elixirs in his hand, he could feel the surging spiritual energy. From that, he concluded that the bottle of elixirs Leng Ruoxue gave him was of a higher quality than the elixirs she had sold them. It would be strange if he was willing to eat it. Chapter 1698, The Third Elder, 2, Second Elder. Why did I only realize today that you're a miser? Feng De spoke his mind, and the second elder's face immediately turned red. Hee. I'm being thrifty. You guys have to learn from me. The second elder said shamelessly. What the second elder said makes sense. Since we're advocating for a contract, then we won't eat pills as food anymore. Feng De nodded in agreement. What? Taking medicinal pills for food? You bunch of wastrels. Hearing this, the second elder was so angry that he immediately jumped up from the ground and chased after Feng De, wanting to beat him up. However, Feng De was as agile as a loach, and the second elder could not catch him at all. Miss. Look at second elder's lively appearance now, I think he should have rested enough. We can continue on our way. Feng De ran to Leng Ruoxue's back and spoke loudly to her in a voice that everyone could hear. Ah! Feng De's words made the second elder stop in his tracks involuntarily. Had he fallen for this kid's trick? However, he was indeed tired. This was not an act. When he thought of this, he could not help but look at Leng Ruoxue pitifully. That pitiful expression seemed to be saying, I'm really tired. He wasn't pretending. Second elder. If we've rested enough, let's continue our journey. Leng Ruoxue held back her laughter and ignored second elder's aggrieved gaze as she spoke in a serious tone. Oh. Then let's go. The second elder was too embarrassed to say it, so he let himself rest for a while. Sob. It was all his fault for being too lively just now. If he said he was tired again, no one would believe him. Then let's go. Leng Ruoxue didn't stand on ceremony. Who asked her to rush to the Ning family as soon as possible? Therefore, he had no choice but to let the second elder suffer. The second elder nodded gloomily. Then, he led the group into the Ning family's divine territory. After a few more teleportations in the Ning family's divine territory, Leng Ruoxue and the rest arrived at the Ning family's main city in the evening. However, they did not enter the main residence directly. Instead, they went to look for Ning Hai. When Ning Hai saw Leng Ruoxue and the others, he was pleasantly surprised. However, when he saw the Ning family elders behind Leng Ruoxue, he immediately became restrained. After all, these elders of the Ning family were second only to the family head in terms of seniority. They were also considered old ancestor level. Little brat. This is differential treatment. You're so enthusiastic when you see this little girl, but you immediately change your attitude when you see us. So what if you don't welcome us? Seeing Ning Hai's reaction, the second elder started to argue with him. How would I dare to not welcome the elders? I was just too surprised. Ning Hai wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and quickly explained. However, he couldn't help but feel worried. What was wrong with the second elder? Had he been replaced? One had to know that the second elder in his heart was not someone who would say such words. What are you surprised about? Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You just think we're troublesome and want to shut us out, don't you? The second elder cursed and did not let him off. Now, he looked like a little kid who could not get candy. Not only was Ning Hai speechless, but even the elders behind him were shocked and sweating. Ah! The second elder. You're mistaken. How could I have such an idea? I'm really too surprised. I didn't expect that all the elders would come to my house. Ning Hai continued to explain with a bitter smile. At the same time, he cast a pleading look at Leng Ruoxue. What's with the, If you're still there, I'll throw you into the river to feed the fish. The second elder suddenly exploded in anger. However, when he said this, he felt particularly good in his heart. Hee. Thanks. As soon as he finished speaking, the elders behind him broke out in cold sweat. Now they could all see that the second elder had been possessed by the fish. Otherwise, he would not have said such words. However, Ning Hai did not know about this origin, so the second elder's words made him unable to come back to his senses. When he came back to his senses, he felt extremely aggrieved. He didn't do anything. Why did she have to feed him to the fish? When Leng Ruoxue heard their conversation, she was already laughing in her heart. It seems like the second elder had suffered quite a bit in the nightmare realm. Now, she had actually discovered this evil fire on Big Brother Ning's body. However, seeing the second elder's appearance, she felt that it was quite interesting. This kind of second elder looked much more amiable. Big Brother Ning. How's the Ning family now? Leng Ruoxue changed the topic and asked, helping the depressed Ning Hai out of his predicament. The Ning family? Nothing happened. Everything is normal. Although Ning Hai didn't understand why Leng Ruoxue would ask this, he still answered truthfully. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded and thought to herself, most likely, apart from the higher-ups of the Ning family, no one else knows about Godfather and the others. But this is good, at least they won't be worried. In fact, she asked this question because she wanted to know if the news had spread. Now it seems that the Ning family has done a good job of keeping it a secret. Otherwise, Ning Yan wouldn't have needed to sneak out of the Ning family to look for me. Ruoxue. Did something happen? Ning Hai still asked worriedly. It's nothing. It's just that I haven't been to the Ning family for too long, so I wanted to see if you had any small tricks here, so that I can be mentally prepared. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Oh. Ning Hai nodded. Although he was a little suspicious of Leng Ruoxue's words, he could not find any loopholes in her words, so he could only believe her. Big Brother Ning. We'd like to stay the night at your house and go to the main house tomorrow morning. You won't not welcome us, will you? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. Hee. I can't ask for more, how can I not welcome you? Ning Hai quickly said and looked at Leng Ruoxue with some hidden resentment. This little girl was actually treating him like an outsider. That's good. Leng Ruoxue said, pretending to be at ease. Then, Ning Hai arranged rooms for everyone, but he was called by the second elder. Until the next morning, when they left, Ning Hai did not appear. Second elder, what did you do to Ning Hai? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously as they were walking on the streets of the Ning family's main city. Damn girl, what do you mean by what did I do to Ning Hai? Do you think I'm going to eat him? I only told him to cultivate properly and gave him a mission to not leave the room until he reaches the God King level. The second elder said disapprovingly. You let Big Brother Ning cultivate in his room? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes widened as she asked in disbelief. What's going on in the room? The spiritual energy in our Ning clan's capital is incomparable to the outside world. Even if he only cultivates in his room, it's a matter of twice the effort with half the results. Moreover, he'll reach God King very soon. Once he becomes a God King, he'll naturally think of a way to arrange for him to enter seclusion in the forbidden area, but now is not the time. The second elder said honestly. Chapter 1699, The Third Elder, 3, Arrange for him to enter the forbidden area? Second elder, you're no longer an elder of the Ning family. Do you still have this right? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously with a smirk on her face. Wretched girl. You're trying to anger me, right? When second elder heard Leng Ruoxue's words, he was so angry that he glared and gritted his teeth. What do you think? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be mysterious. That's right, she was doing it on purpose to anger him. Do I need to say it? You're clearly trying to anger me. The second elder roared in anger. Actually, he did not think that he was a hot-tempered person. However, every time he faced Leng Ruoxue, he would be angered to the point of stomping his feet. Who asked Leng Ruoxue to have the ability to anger people to death? However, even if I'm not an elder of the Ning family, I'm still one of the few reverent god-level cultivators in the Ning family. No one dares to look down on me. The second elder added in anger. I can see that. Leng Ruoxue agreed. If this old man wasn't a reverent god, he wouldn't have been removed from his position as an elder. Those elders would still treat him as the second elder. Of course, this was with the exception of some short-sighted servants in the Ning family. Then you don't have any doubts about my words, right? The second elder said proudly. I didn't doubt your words at first. Leng Ruoxue blinked her beautiful eyes and said with an innocent look. Second elder was so angry at Leng Ruoxue that he could not speak. He could only open his large eyes and glare at her fiercely. Second elder, do you want to restore your position? At this moment, Leng Ruoxue released another bait and whispered. Of course I want to. But the master isn't here, and it's not even certain if he'll restore my position. The second elder said unconfidently. He had experienced the so-called fickleness of human relationships in the first few days after he was dismissed. However, it had been so long, so he was much calmer. Have you forgotten? Godfather once said that what I say is equivalent to what he says. Leng Ruoxue reminded. You're saying you're going to restore my position? After second elder heard Leng Ruoxue's words, he was extremely agitated and grabbed Leng Ruoxue's wrist tightly. However, when he felt an icy cold gaze shooting towards him, he let go of his hand in embarrassment. I didn't do it on purpose. I was just a little excited. The second elder explained in embarrassment. Hee. I do have that idea, but I'm afraid that some of the elders will oppose it. Of course, I'm not against you, but I'm afraid that my words won't have that much of an effect on some of the elders. Leng Ruoxue said calmly. She was giving second elder a heads-up in advance. After all, with the current situation in the Ning family, she really needed someone with weight to stand on her side. Even though they didn't have to listen to her every word, they couldn't go against her and drag her down. That's a big problem. The second elder said with a frown. The Ning family had been passed down for a long time, and there were naturally many elders. Furthermore, they were involved in many interests, and not all of the elders were of one mind. Thus, it was easy to imagine how much weight Leng Ruoxue's words held in the hearts of those elders. If the family head was here, some of the elders might not dare to oppose Leng Ruoxue's words too obviously. Unfortunately, the family head's whereabouts were unknown. However, this matter concerned his position in the Ning family. Therefore, he would never allow anyone to secretly sabotage him. Second elder. As for how to communicate with those stubborn elders, that's your problem. Moreover, I'm not afraid to tell you clearly that after you're restored to your position, you must be in agreement with me on this matter. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. Leng Ruoxue thought about it and decided to say the ugly words first. This would be good for both parties. I understand. I'll definitely listen to you. Second elder promised. Although he didn't dare to say that he completely trusted Leng Ruoxue, at least he wouldn't deliberately go against her. In other words, Leng Ruoxue was slowly subduing him. It was just that he hadn't realized this yet. Then you should settle them first. Leng Ruoxue used her eyes to signal to the elders who were not far away. They don't need to be settled. The second elder wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and thought to himself, you've already dealt with those old fogies, so why would I need to go out? He believed that out of all the elders by Leng Ruoxue's side, none of them would dare to oppose her words directly. Since you're so confident, let's go back to the main residence quickly. When the time comes, well, wait and see. Leng Ruoxue said softly. The second elder nodded. Then, everyone quickened their pace and walked in the direction of the Ning family's main residence. As soon as they arrived at the door of the main house, third elder came out with some of the Ning family members to welcome them. Second brother. Long time no see. The gray-robed third elder said coldly. Thanks, third brother. I didn't expect you to come out of seclusion. The second elder said, pretending to be surprised. Yup. The third elder nodded and turned to look at Ning Yen. He glanced at him coldly and then turned to look at Leng Ruoxue. Was this little girl the adopted daughter of the master? She was indeed a rare beauty. However, she was too weak. He couldn't understand why the master would acknowledge such a weak goddaughter and give her such a high status. This fact made him extremely jealous. After all, he was the master's son. However, in the family head's heart, he definitely could not compare to this girl who had no blood relations with the family head. At the thought of this, his gaze towards Leng Ruoxue became colder and colder. There was even a hint of hostility in it. While third elder was sizing up Leng Ruoxue without any restraint, Leng Ruoxue was also sizing him up without restraint. This old man was also a hierarch, but his aura was obviously weaker than the second elder's. As for now, his strength was even less comparable to the second elder's. However, his shrewd eyes were very similar to her godfather's, but when her godfather looked at her, his eyes were gentle, while this third elder's eyes were quite unfriendly. Had she offended him before? Leng Ruoxue's heart was filled with doubt. Little girl. Ning Shan-er is his descendant, and he dotes on her a lot. So, be careful when you're alone. The second elder suddenly sent a voice transmission to Leng Ruoxue. I know. Replied Leng Ruoxue. Then, she turned to look at third elder. Could it be that this old man had only listened to Ning Shan-er's one-sided story and had already blacklisted her? If that was the case, she could only say that the third elder was an elder who liked to act on his emotions. One had to know that there were different things to protect one's shortcomings. Blindly protecting one's shortcomings would only pamper arrogant and domineering descendants. As time passed, this family would not be far from destruction. You're Leng Ruoxue? Third elder said to Leng Ruoxue after examining her. Yes, I am. Leng Ruoxue nodded and did not continue. I heard that you're quite capable to be able to coax the master to listen to your every word. The third elder said with jealousy. Who did third elder hear this from? How come I didn't know that Godfather always listens to me? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with astonishment. Her beautiful eyes widened as she asked in disbelief. Isn't this something that all the Ning family members know? The third elder's mouth twitched as he spoke in an unfriendly manner. Second elder. Did you guys hear that too? When Leng Ruoxue heard third elder's words, she turned to ask second elder and the rest. I've never heard of it. The second elder said very seriously. We've never heard of it either. The other elders hurriedly echoed and looked at the third elder with a hint of resentment. They thought in their hearts, isn't the third elder trying to harm us? This wretched girl was very vengeful. If they didn't stand on her side, who knew what she would do to them after this? Sob. They were afraid. Have you all been bribed by her? What benefits did she give you to make you speak up for her? When third elder saw second elder and the rest speaking up for Leng Ruoxue, he could not help but roar in anger. Third elder. We're telling the truth. When we left the Ning family, we really didn't hear of such a thing. The seventh elder said with an aggrieved expression. Even though it was true that the family head was biased towards Leng Ruoxue, it was not to the point where he would listen to her every word, right? Moreover, based on his understanding of Leng Ruoxue, he knew that this girl wasn't someone who didn't know her limits. It was impossible for her to make unreasonable requests of the family head. More importantly, the family head wasn't a fool. How could he allow others to manipulate him? You didn't hear it, but that doesn't mean you didn't hear it. The third elder gritted his teeth in anger. Then, he continued, you've come back just in time. The Ning family needs you now. After that, he turned around and walked into the main residence. Seeing this, the second elder and the others sighed and followed him into the main residence. After some slight adjustments, the elders gathered in the meeting hall. However, when third elder walked into the meeting hall and saw Leng Ruoxue, his stern face revealed a trace of dissatisfaction. Our Ning family's elders have important matters to discuss. What is she joining in the fun for? The third elder pointed at Leng Ruoxue and said impolitely. Chapter 1700, Crossing Swords. 1. The moment the third elder said this, the elders who had been whispering to each other all fell silent and looked at Leng Ruoxue cautiously. This was especially so for the seventh elder and the others who were familiar with Leng Ruoxue. The more timid ones had already turned pale from fear. The entire meeting hall fell into a dead silence. Can't I come? After a long while, Leng Ruoxue finally spoke with a smile that was not a smile. She couldn't help but think to herself, it seems like third elder is trying to pick a fight with me. This is the first time I've met third elder, so I really don't know how I've offended him. If he really did not like her because of Ning Shan, then she would be disappointed in third elder and nothing else. Of course not. Only the acting master, young master, and elders of the Ning family can attend this meeting. No one else is qualified. The third elder said very seriously. Second elder. Am I really not qualified to attend this meeting? Leng Ruoxue ignored third elder's words and turned to ask second elder, who was not too far away from her. Miss Leng has special privileges in the Ning family, so she can naturally attend this meeting. The second elder glanced at the third elder as he spoke indifferently. Second brother. You. The third elder looked at the second elder in dissatisfaction, but he was interrupted before he could finish. Third brother. The master said that Miss Leng's words and actions in the Ning family represent him, so if Miss Leng is interested, you can also participate in the Ning family's elders meeting. All the elders here know this. The second elder said helplessly. However, anyone with eyes could tell that his words sounded like a reminder, but they were actually a warning. Second brother. I don't know what the patriarch meant when he said those words, but I heard that you've been stripped of your position as an elder by the patriarch. Is that true? The third elder changed the topic to the second elder. The second elder's face darkened. Not bad. The patriarch dismissed me from my position as an elder. The second elder said with an ashen face. He didn't expect that after so long, the first one to mention this matter would be the third elder. This made him somewhat disappointed. After all, the elders ranked in the top 10 were all brothers who were closer to him by blood. The third elder's words clearly meant that he was not qualified to participate in the family's elder conference. How could he not be angry? Since that's the case, third brother and Miss Leng, please leave the meeting hall together. The third elder's facial features were serious, and his expression did not change. Third brother. Don't forget, I'm still the reverent god of the Ning family. The second elder couldn't help but remind him, his face turning from green to black. Second brother. You're one of the only 8 hierarch in the Ning family, so we'll naturally treat you as well as we did before. However, you're not qualified to participate in this elders meeting. After all, you're no longer an elder of the Ning family. If you participate in the elders meeting, it'll definitely make the clan dissatisfied. The third elder said with a worried look. Actually, he did not want to treat the second elder this way. However, the second elder was on Leng Ruoxue's side. Since that was the case, then the second elder could not be blamed for not considering their brotherhood. Thanks, is there anyone who's unhappy with me joining the Elders Guild? After hearing the third elder's words, the second elder glared at the other elders and asked coldly. When the elders heard the second elder's question, they all looked at each other, but no one dared to speak. Fuck. Who would dare to say that they were dissatisfied? With the second elder's temper, whoever said that would die. At this moment, even the elders who were under the third elder didn't dare to say a word, afraid that they would become a tool for the second elder to vent his anger. The second elder might still care about the third elder's friendship, but he would not show any mercy to them. Therefore, no matter how the third elder winked at them, asking them to be cannon fodder, they all lowered their heads and pretended not to see it. Seeing this, the third elder was so angry that his heart was burning with anger. The second elder was obviously much calmer, and he leisurely drank the tea in his hand. It seems like no one is unhappy with second elder's attendance at the elder council. After a long while, Leng Ruoxue said with a faint smile. At this moment, the entire assembly hall was so quiet that one could even hear a pin drop on the ground. When they heard her say this, the entire assembly hall was even more silent. Who says no one is dissatisfied? They're just not in a good position to say it out of respect for the second elder. The third elder said through gritted teeth. Oh. The other elders are too embarrassed to say it in front of the second elder, but the third elder doesn't seem to have this guche. Look at how you're jumping up and down, so happily. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. You, third elder was so infuriated by Leng Ruoxue's words that his face turned white. His entire body trembled as he pointed at Leng Ruoxue, unable to complete his sentence even after a long time. Upon seeing this, many of the elders could not help but look at Leng Ruoxue with admiration. This was their idol. Of the three great elders of the Ning family, other than the great elder who had yet to return, the other two could be considered to have fought with Leng Ruoxue. The second elder had suffered a crushing defeat and had become Leng Ruoxue's bodyguard. As for the third elder, he probably would not have a good ending either. Leng Ruoxue had the ability to anger people to death. The seventh elder and the rest agreed with this point. Hence, no matter what they thought of Leng Ruoxue, they would stand firmly on her side. After all, it was very important to choose a side. I what? Third elder, although I'm not a true member of the Ning family, many of the Ning family's clansmen know that Godfather has given me certain privileges in the Ning family. So, as long as I want to participate in this elders' meeting, no one can stop me. Leng Ruoxue laughed coldly as she pointed out the truth once again. Words are not proof. I wasn't there at the time, so who knows what the master meant. Maybe you misunderstood. After calming down, the third elder retorted. Third elder's words make sense. However, take a look at what this is. After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, she took out a token from her bracelet. The moment the token appeared, all the elders in the meeting hall could not help but stand up and bow respectfully to Leng Ruoxue. Their expressions became nervous. This token was the identity token of the Ning family's master. Although she had used it for a while, she had returned it to her godfather later. The reason why this token had returned to her hands this time was because Godfather was afraid that someone in the Ning family would cause trouble for her, so he had lent it to her again. Seeing the token was akin to seeing the family head. Hence, all the elders had to bow to Leng Ruoxue after seeing the token. Even the third elder, who was unwilling, did the same. Otherwise, it would be considered disrespectful to the family head. No clansman could tolerate disrespect to the master. After all, the master of the Ning family was the ancestor and the backbone of the Ning family. At the same time, he was also the idol of the Ning family's thousands of clansmen. No clansman would allow their idol to be blasphemed, or they would be the sinners of the Ning family. Chapter 1701, Crossing Swords, 2. Originally, Leng Ruoxue didn't want to take out this token. However, seeing how overbearing third elder was, she couldn't be bothered to waste her breath on him. Hence, she immediately took out the token that represented her identity as the family head. If third elder still insisted on going against her, then he shouldn't blame her for pulling the tiger's skin and raising the flag. This token, where did you get it from? After being stunned for a while, the third elder couldn't help but ask in a trembling voice. Of course it's from my godfather. Do you think I stole it? Or was it stolen? Leng Ruoxue said with a hint of mockery. Miss Leng really likes to joke. The old ancestor is a god venerable, no one can snatch anything from his hands. At this time, the second elder, who was also shocked, said. He had not expected that the family head would give his personal token to Leng Ruoxue. It seemed like the master had a lot of trust in her. However, Leng Ruoxue had never revealed this to any of them, nor had she thought of using this token to force them to submit obediently. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but have mixed feelings. If he had known that Leng Ruoxue had the clan head's token, these elders would have followed her orders obediently. It was a pity that Leng Ruoxue had no intention of using this token to subdue them. This fact made him think even more highly of Leng Ruoxue. This little girl was not simple. The second elder couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The opportunity was obviously extraordinary, but she had no desires or demands. If it were any one of them who had been given this token representing the identity of the family head, they would not be as calm and composed as she was. In reality, what he didn't know was that Leng Ruoxue had treated this token as an ordinary token. In fact, from her point of view, this token could only be used to scare the Ning family and didn't seem to be of much use to anyone else. Hence, unless it was a critical period, she wasn't willing to use it to intimidate others. Do any of you think that this sign is fake? Leng Ruoxue nodded her head slightly after hearing second elder's words, then asked. Leng Ruoxue's question caused the elders present to wipe the cold sweat off their foreheads. They were all thinking, who would dare to lie through their teeth? As soon as the token was shown, they could sense it. If they insisted that the token was fake, would the family head spare them if he knew? Third elder, do you think this token is fake? Seeing that none of the elders answered her, Leng Ruoxue had no choice but to call out names personally. This brand is real. The third elder suppressed his anger and cursed in his heart. What did Leng Ruoxue mean by this? There were so many elders present, why did they only ask him? Did he think that he was easy to bully? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. His expression also turned gloomier. As for the other elders, other than occasionally giving him a look of pity, they did not even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that they would attract Leng Ruoxue's attention. Are you sure, third elder? Leng Ruoxue asked worriedly. I'm sure. The third elder gritted his teeth as the veins on his forehead throbbed. This was enough to prove that he was on the verge of exploding. The elders looked at third elder, who was suppressing his anger, then at Leng Ruoxue, who was calm and composed. They kept praying in their hearts that third elder would not be provoked. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Since third elder is so sure, then I can be at ease. Leng Ruoxue glanced at the elder's expressions and laughed in her heart. She then asked, I heard that this family head token has great power in the Ning family. Seeing the token is like seeing the family head, right? Do you really not know, or are you just pretending? Hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the third elder roared in anger. Fuck! He didn't believe that Leng Ruoxue didn't know what this token represented. If that was the case, why would she show them this token to scare them? Of course I know, but I'm asking you guys now. Leng Ruoxue said in an infuriating manner. Thanks, that's right. Seeing the token is the same as seeing the patriarch. The third elder's face was as black as ink as he replied in an unpleasant tone. Then with this, you all have to listen to me, right? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. What? What's with this score? After all, this is a critical period, and we have to be responsible for the Ning family. The third elder had wanted to say, of course, but he changed his mind when he remembered that the master's whereabouts were unknown. In that case, even if I have this token in my hand, it's not of much use to you. Leng Ruoxue said with a half-smile. It's not useless, but it depends on the matter. If the matter involves too many people, please forgive us for not being able to follow orders. The third elder said in a righteous manner. Third elder. Do you even know what you're saying? Leng Ruoxue asked with a cold smile. Of course I know. The third elder said without fear. Do you all think the same as the third elder? Leng Ruoxue laughed, then looked at the other elders with her eyes half closed. Miss Leng. The Ning family's rules state that seeing the master token is the same as seeing the master himself, so we'll definitely act according to Miss Leng's instructions. The seventh elder said after receiving the second elder's signal. Seventh brother. Don't you know what's going on? How can we listen to an outsider when the master is not here? The third elder roared in jealousy and anger. Third elder. Miss Leng is not an outsider. She is the goddaughter of our master, which means she is our sister. Moreover, her status is recognized by the old ancestor. If we don't acknowledge it, then we are going against the master. I can't afford to bear the consequences. The seventh elder said fearfully. His words received the support of many other elders. Of course, most of them were elders who had gone to the godly mainland with them and had gone through many hardships together. The third elder looked at the seventh elder in exasperation, while the seventh elder glared back at him fearlessly. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, it was Leng Ruoxue who interrupted their affectionate gazes. Third elder, I know that you're doing this for the Ning family wholeheartedly. Moreover, please don't worry. The master of the Ning family is my godfather and has always loved me. I will never do anything to harm the Ning family. So, instead of having time to go against me, you might as well go back to the Forbidden Land and cultivate. After all, you hierarch elders are the pillars of the Ning family. Only if you live well will the future of the Ning family be more promising. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. She had first praised third elder before revealing her motive. Her following words had also infuriated third elder. Fuck. Third elder cursed in his heart again. He finally understood what Leng Ruoxue was trying to say. She clearly wanted him to get lost and return to the Forbidden Land, and not interfere with the Ning family's affairs. How was this possible? Since he had already come out of seclusion, he naturally wouldn't easily go into seclusion to cultivate again. Not to mention, the Ning family's current situation didn't allow him to leave it alone. Miss Leng. Since you can come to the divine world, you must already know the Ning family's current situation. Do you think it's appropriate for me to go into seclusion now? Or do you think that you can solve the Ning family's internal and external problems with your own strength? The third elder sneered as he questioned, throwing the question back to Leng Ruoxue. Chapter 1702, Crossing Swords, 3. I think it's very appropriate for you to go into seclusion right now. Besides, I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can solve the Ning family's current problem. Leng Ruoxue laughed lightly and said in a calm manner. Since you can't solve it yourself, what makes you think it's appropriate for me to go into seclusion now? The third elder roared in anger. From his point of view, Leng Ruoxue was clearly here to cause trouble. To think that Ning Yuan and Ning Haolan had agreed to let someone inform Leng Ruoxue of this matter. Now, he was glad that he had stopped their decision. However, who knew that Ning Yen would secretly run out and bring Leng Ruoxue to the divine world? However, he did not agree to this. Therefore, if something really happened to the Ning family, he would not be the one to be the sinner of the Ning family. It doesn't matter if I can't solve it myself. Don't I still have the help of the second and seventh elders? They've been in contact with the Ning family's affairs for so many years, so their ability to handle things must be above yours. With their help, what are you worried about? Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently. Second elder is no longer an elder of the Ning family, so naturally, he can't interfere with the Ning family's affairs. Gritting his teeth, the third elder took a few more deep breaths before replying. Right now, he could only make an issue out of the second elder. Oh, really? Then I'll restore the position of second elder right now. Do you have any objections? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes swept across the elders present as she asked in an extremely cold tone. At this moment, the second elder's deep eyes swept across the elders, scaring them so much that no one dared to make a sound. Actually, they were in a difficult position. If they agreed with Leng Ruoxue's words, they would definitely offend the third elder. If they disagreed with Leng Ruoxue's words, the person they would offend would be Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue might be a powerful dragon, but third elder was a local tyrant. Since ancient times, it had been difficult for a powerful dragon to suppress a local snake. Hence, it was difficult for them to answer this question. After all, it was not a wise move to offend Leng Ruoxue or the third elder. Hence, they could only remain silent. Since no one objects, that means they agree. Leng Ruoxue nodded in satisfaction. Wait. They didn't even say anything, how could they agree? The third elder quickly stopped him. But they didn't object, did they? Moreover, everyone knew that silence meant consent. Did he want to treat their silence as a silent protest? If that's the case, I'll have to make them give me a reason. Leng Ruoxue said stubbornly. Elders. The third elder has an opinion, so don't keep silent. Tell me your thoughts. Leng Ruoxue urged again. I don't have any objections, the seventh elder was the first to speak. I have no objections either. The elders who had returned from the godly mainland with them all expressed their opinions. These elders made up about half of the elders present, so their words carried a lot of weight. What about you guys? Leng Ruoxue's gaze then swept towards the other elders. These elders who were left behind in the Ning family were basically the type who would only listen to orders. Their strength was that they were obedient. However, its biggest weakness was that it was obedient. To put it bluntly, it didn't have its own opinions and just followed the crowd. Hearing Leng Ruoxue's question, a few of the more timid ones immediately expressed their agreement. As for the elders who had yet to express their agreement, when they saw the situation and received the message from the second elder, Qiu Bo, they nodded their heads like pounding garlic. When the third elder saw this, his heart was filled with hatred. However, he was even angrier that these elders were fence-sitters. Under Leng Ruoxue's threats and promises, all of them had agreed. In this case, if he were to object, he would have offended the second elder badly. Knowing the second elder's vengeful personality, the third elder was naturally unwilling to face the second elder's anger directly. Therefore, he had no choice but to agree, since all the elders have agreed, then I have no more objections. As he said this, the third elder was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. It seemed like Leng Ruoxue really lived up to her reputation. He was really a troublesome fellow. Second elder. All the elders present have agreed. From now on, your position as the second elder is restored. Leng Ruoxue immediately announced the moment the third elder finished speaking. She had not expected that restoring the second elder's position would be so much easier than she had imagined. However, she was well aware that this was definitely not due to her efforts. Miss Leng, now that the Ning family is in a critical period, I should take on the responsibility as the second elder of the Ning family. However, the elders present are only a part of the Ning family, after all. Some of them have not returned yet, and the master has not truly agreed to this matter. I think I'd better take over the position of the second elder for the time being and wait for the master to come back to make a decision. The second elder thought for a moment and said. It wasn't that he was being unreasonable and didn't want to restore his position as an elder, but he didn't want to leave others with a chance to gossip. Therefore, he also played hard to get. Thanks, second elder is really reasonable. Let's do as second elder says. However, even though the second elder is only a temporary substitute, his power and status are still above yours. The second elder will still be in charge of the elder council, unless the great elder returns. Leng Ruoxue chuckled as she added. Yes. The elders did not have any doubts about this. In fact, they were used to being controlled by the second elder. Third elder. I don't know how much you know about Godfather and the others, but you should report it to us. After the second elder's matter was settled easily, Leng Ruoxue turned her gaze towards the depressed third elder. Didn't Ning Yan already tell you? The third elder was a little angry. Fuck. His position in the Ning family, besides the master, was second only to the first elder and the second elder. This kind of small matter of reporting actually had to be done by him. Just thinking about it made him feel angry. This Leng Ruoxue was clearly treating him as a messenger. Ning Yan said what he said. Now, we want to hear what you have to say. You know, the same words come from different people, and they have completely different meanings. So, we want to hear your opinion. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly. What's wrong? Have you forgotten? third elder? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile when she saw third elder not uttering a word and only frowning at her. I didn't forget. The third elder gritted his teeth in anger. This woman was really more than just detestable. He had lived for so long, but he had never been angered to the point of being speechless. Yet, Leng Ruoxue had done it. Then tell me. Leng Ruoxue picked up the teacup on the table beside her and took a light sip. I'm not the first one to know about this. If you want to hear it, I'll repeat it to you. The third elder said. His words were said with great skill and were also very cunning. This was because he had also heard it from someone else. If Leng Ruoxue wanted to find fault with him, she would naturally not be able to find him. If you're just repeating it, then you'd better not say it. However, I'd like to know how third elder, who is in seclusion, found out about this. Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Of course, someone informed me. The third elder's face turned red with anger as he huffed. Which one of you informed third elder? Hearing third elder's words, Leng Ruoxue did not directly ask him who that person was. Instead, she asked the other elders present. Does it matter who it is? The third elder roared in anger. He couldn't understand what Leng Ruoxue meant. He was confused. It's not that important. I'm just curious. Leng Ruoxue explained indifferently. Actually, this matter could be said to be important or not important. It all depended on how she saw it. The reason why she wanted to get to the bottom of this was because she felt that third elder's exit from his closed-door cultivation was a little strange. Among the elders who were in closed-door cultivation, only third elder had come out. No one had informed the other elders. This was a little unbelievable and illogical. Miss Leng. We didn't inform third elder. At this time, an elder spoke. Oh. Why didn't you send someone to inform them? Leng Ruoxue asked in confusion. Furthermore, she was referring to them. Because the patriarch once said that unless it's a matter of life and death for the family, no one is allowed to disturb the elders who are in seclusion. Although 2 elders have died and the patriarch's whereabouts are unknown, the patriarch and the others have not died, so we can't panic. More importantly, if they all come out of seclusion, it will cause panic and suspicion in the family. We can't take that risk. The elder explained, and at the same time, he secretly wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. It could be seen how nervous he was at this time. So that's how it is. Third elder, what do you say? After hearing the elder's words, Leng Ruoxue asked about third elder. I have nothing to say. They were not the ones who informed me, but I will not tell you who it was. The third elder said directly. He finally understood Leng Ruoxue's meaning. However, he would not let her have her way. Chapter 1703, The Ning Family is Not Safe. 1. When Leng Ruoxue heard third elder's words, she only smiled indifferently and did not say anything else. This was all within her expectations. However, even if third elder was not willing to say it personally, it did not mean that she would not know. After all, she still had Qing Ju to help her. However, it was still difficult for Qing Ju to read a reverent god's mind. She naturally wouldn't let Qing Ju take the risk, so she turned her attention to the others. It didn't matter if she couldn't find out from the third elder, someone would eventually reveal some clues. Second elder. We've been on the road for so long and haven't had a good rest. I think we'll stop here for today. The meeting will continue the day after tomorrow at this time. Leng Ruoxue suddenly turned to the second elder and said. Her sudden words caused all the elders present to be stunned. They were all confused. What the hell was this eldest young miss doing? This meeting had been going on for half a day, and other than restoring the position of the second elder, it seemed that no results had been reached. Furthermore, the second elder and the others had not expressed their opinions on the matter of going to the mystic realm. The meeting ended just like that. The elders' faces were filled with disbelief. Actually, when the second elder and the others heard her words, they were also a little confused. However, out of their trust in Leng Ruoxue, they did not say much. We do need a good rest. The second elder nodded his head in cooperation. After he finished speaking, he was the first to lead the way out of the meeting hall. After that, Leng Ruoxue also walked out. This time, she didn't stay in the forbidden area in the back mountain, but in the Ning family's best guest courtyard, Ning Ziyuan. As its name suggested, the Ningji garden was elegant and unique. The scenery was beautiful, and the garden was complete with mountains, rocks, and flowing water. The entire garden was very spacious, very suitable for them. And this was also specially arranged for them by the second elder and the others who understood their preferences. After returning to Ningji Garden, Leng Ruoxue had just entered the garden when she saw an uninvited guest loitering around in the garden. To be more precise, he was loitering around the evildoer who was sitting on a stone chair in the garden. Her 4 maidservants were guarding the evildoer's side as if they were facing a great enemy, not willing to let the uninvited guest take even half a step closer. Seeing this scene, Leng Ruoxue almost laughed out loud. Ha! Her maidservant was really too cute. What's up? Do we have guests? Leng Ruoxue walked closer and asked knowingly. Miss, where did the guest come from? It's just an uninvited guest. Grape said unhappily. Her beautiful little face was puffed up with anger. When she saw Leng Ruoxue, her face lit up with joy, as if she was relieved. It was a good thing that Miss had returned. Otherwise, they were really afraid that they wouldn't be able to keep an eye on this thirsty woman in front of them. One had to know that if it weren't for the 4 of them, this woman would probably have already pounced on Miss Man. Sigh. Why did young Miss Man look so devilish? Isn't this luring people to commit a crime? She couldn't help but curse in her heart. Oh. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head lightly. At this moment, the evildoer stood up from the stone chair and walked towards her with a faint smile. He pulled her into his arms and hugged her. Shwar baby. Why did you only come back now? I've missed you so much. The demon said in a numb voice. Ah. When Leng Ruoxue heard the evildoer's words, she wiped the cold sweat off her forehead and thought to herself, what is this evildoer trying to do? Even if it was an act, there was no need to be so mushy, right? She felt goosebumps all over her body, but she still cooperated and said, be good. I'm already very fast. The meeting hasn't even ended, and I've already urged them to end the meeting and ran back without stopping. The moment she finished speaking, Leng Ruoxue felt the hair on her body stand on end. However, in front of outsiders, she could not let anyone see through her. The conversation between the 2 of them made the uninvited guest burn with jealousy, while Green Peach and the other 3 were so shocked that their jaws almost fell off. Was this their young miss and future son-in-law? Did these 2 take the wrong medicine? Otherwise, how could he say such terrifying words? Damn it. Let him go. Before Green Peach and the other 3 could finish sighing in their hearts, the uninvited guest couldn't bear it anymore and roared. Her originally beautiful face was so jealous that it was almost distorted. Wasn't this the 9th young mistress of the Ning family? I heard that you've been locked up, how come you're out so quickly? Seeing the uninvited guest turn around, Leng Ruoxue pretended to be surprised and asked. Actually, she could tell that this person was Ning Shaner from her back. However, she was too lazy to bother with her, so she pretended not to recognize her. Thanks, damn it. Quickly release him. Ning Shaner pointed at Leng Ruoxue and roared. Her beautiful eyes were burning with jealousy, and her hatred for Leng Ruoxue was even greater. That damned woman. She was really rubbing it in. She had finally been released by her great-grandfather and was not willing to think about being locked up at all. Her clansmen did not dare to mention this matter in front of her. She did not expect that this damn woman would uncover her scars the moment they met. This was really preposterous. If young Master Yi wasn't present, she would definitely rush up and teach this annoying woman a lesson. However, in front of young Master Yi, no matter how angry she was, she couldn't touch that woman. She was really aggrieved. Is ninth young mistress talking to me? Leng Ruoxia's beautiful eyes widened, her face filled with disbelief. Nonsense. If I'm not talking to you, who else can I talk to? Ning Shan was furious because she felt that Leng Ruoxia was playing dumb. But he was the one who hugged me. Leng Ruoxia reminded him as if she was looking at an idiot. Then, you won't come out of his arms. Ning Shan was momentarily at a loss for words, but she still requested unreasonably. Why would I do that? Leng Ruoxia's face was filled with question marks. She blinked her beautiful eyes and asked shamelessly. Because he's mine. Ning Shan shouted shamelessly. Oh, really? When did this happen? How come I didn't know about it? The doubt on Leng Ruoxia's face grew bigger and bigger. In the end, it all turned into conflict. I don't know, the demon also said. Leng Ruoxia and the evildoer looked at each other. Then, both of them turned to look at Ning Shan, looking at her with a puzzled expression. Young Master Yi. She's not good enough for you, you'll find out my good side sooner or later. When Ning Shan saw that Yi Qin was not giving her any face at all, she was both angry and resentful. She was angry because Yi Qin did not know how to take care of a woman, and naturally, she hated Leng Ruoxia. After she finished speaking, Ning Shan left the garden angrily with her maidservant. Miss. I'll go and order the guards at the door to not let this woman in again. After Ning Shan left, Grape said with a look of disdain. No need, if she really wants to come in, the guards at the door will not be able to stop her. I'm afraid they would not dare to stop her. Leng Ruoxia said. If she had not guessed wrongly, the one who gave the order to release Ning Shan from confinement should be Third Elder. With Third Elder backing Ning Shan up, no one in the Ning family would dare to offend her. Chapter 1704, The Ning family is not safe, too, then what should we do? This woman is too annoying. If she comes to us every 2 or 3 days, we'll be dead. Grape complained. Isn't Ning Shan here just to relieve our boredom? I was just afraid that you would be bored. With her here, you can do whatever you want to her, but one thing, don't play her to death. After all, we have to give the Third Elder some face. Leng Ruoxia reminded with a smile. Since they dared to provoke her, they had to be prepared to pay the price. One had to know that it wasn't that easy to steal her things. Hee. With Miss Words, what do we have to be afraid of? Hearing Leng Ruoxia's words, Grape was happy. Previously, she was afraid that she would not be able to control herself and want to beat Ning Shan up, causing trouble for Miss. That was why she did not want Ning Shan to come here. Otherwise, what if she could not control herself and attacked one day? In the past, she was not as powerful as Ning Shan, so she might have been a little weaker. However, now that she was a monarch god like Ning Shan, what was there to be afraid of? And since Miss had said so, she was even less afraid. At this moment, Grape had not realized that ever since she got together with Leng Ruoxia and the others, her personality had undergone a huge change. She had become more and more courageous, and gradually, she had an aura of not being afraid of anything. All of this was a good start. Even if I didn't say that, you don't have to be afraid of her. As long as you don't cause trouble, I'll bear all the consequences. Leng Ruoxia said with certainty. Hee. Miss is so nice. Grape was overjoyed, and a smile appeared on her face. Of course she's good to her own people. Suddenly, a deep voice cut in between them. Leng Ruoxia turned around and saw Second Elder and the rest standing at the entrance of the garden. They were looking at them helplessly. It was likely that these old men had heard a lot of what she had said. Second Elder. Why are you guys here? Leng Ruoxia was a little puzzled. The meeting was over, so why did these old men come to her place instead of returning to their rooms to rest? Could it be that he's here for dinner? Looking at the sky, it was indeed late. Of course we have something to talk to you about. The Second Elder was a little speechless. It seemed that they were not very popular. Oh. What's the matter? Leng Ruoxue was curious. We want to discuss the meeting the day after tomorrow. By the way, why didn't you say your thoughts at the meeting just now? The second elder was a little puzzled. If they had told him their plan just now, they wouldn't have to hold the meeting the day after tomorrow. We have to give third elder some mental preparation. Otherwise, I'm afraid he won't be able to take it if he's hit by so many blows. Leng Ruoxue asked worriedly. However, her words were clearly unable to convince second elder and the others. They were all staring at her with a look of disdain. Their expressions seemed to be saying, "How could you be so kind? Little girl, you saw the situation in the assembly hall today. I'm afraid third elder won't agree to this." The second elder asked worriedly. This was also the main reason why he had come to look for Leng Ruoxue. He could tell from today's meeting in the conference hall that while they were not in the Ning family, the third elder had won over the hearts of many elders. Although not all of them were completely loyal to him, even if one of the elders did not agree to their plan, if something happened in the future, these things would become something that could be used against him. Therefore, he was in a dilemma. This matter is not up to him. Leng Ruoxue said unyieldingly. She had already thought it through. If third elder insisted on not obeying her, she would lock him up. Anyway, she was not afraid of that old man. So what if he was a reverent god-level expert? The Divine Lord would also have to listen to her arrangements. Ah! What do you plan to do? The second elder's heart was palpitating. Leng Ruoxue's words had scared him. However, he was still very curious as to how Leng Ruoxue would deal with the third elder if he did not approve of their plan. If he doesn't listen, it'll send him to the fantasy sky and make him pay for your special training. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. That's a good idea. The second elder wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. He was actually hoping that the third elder would not agree. If that was the case, they could be considered to be going through this together. Thanks, I knew you would agree. Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with understanding. However, her words caused second elder to blush. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue did not tease him anymore. Instead, she directly asked him to leave. It's getting late, you should all go back and have a good rest. There's going to be a great battle the day after tomorrow. After she finished speaking, she pulled the demon back to her room, leaving the second elder and the others dumbfounded. They were being chased out just like that. Leng Ruoxue, that stingy servant, didn't even give them a sip of water to drink. She's really too much. The second elder and the others couldn't help but grumble in their hearts. Second elder. Why aren't you guys leaving? Don't tell me you want to stay for dinner. I'm sorry. We didn't prepare anything for you. Seeing the second elder and the others standing there stupidly, Grape could not help but ask. Ah. Well, take our leave. The second elder's face was black as he quickly said, but his heart was constantly complaining. Really, like master, like maidservant. These maidservants were all the same as Leng Ruoxue. They didn't know how to respect the elderly at all. They had really gone too far. The second elder and the others left resentfully. As they watched their backs, Grape and the others could not help but reveal a knowing smile. They were doing it on purpose. Although second elder and the rest were very obedient now, they still had a long way to go to get their approval. 2 days later. The elders gathered in the meeting hall again. This time, Leng Ruoxue brought the evildoer along. In the words of the evildoer, Shuer, you have to protect me. If you're not by my side, what if that annoying woman comes to harass me again? Left with no choice, Leng Ruoxue could only bring along this huge burden. When third elder walked into the meeting hall and saw Leng Ruoxue, his expression immediately turned ugly. However, when he accidentally saw the handsome man who was leaning against Leng Ruoxue, his face turned black. Leng Ruoxue. Who is the man beside you? The third elder took a few deep breaths and questioned in a cold voice. He's my husband. Leng Ruoxue replied with a smile. To outsiders, she always referred to evildoers as her husband to avoid unnecessary trouble. This is the place where the Ning family discussed matters, not a place for you and your wife to play. Why did you bring a man in? Third elder was a little angry. At this moment, Leng Ruox's image in his heart had become an absurd and lecherous woman. Otherwise, why would she bring a man along to a meeting? I can't not bring it in. The Ning family isn't safe. Someone will harass him. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Hearing her words, second elder and the rest felt extremely embarrassed. They glanced at third elder with a hint of sympathy and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. Why did all the elders of the Ning family become so agitated after seeing Leng Ruoxue? The third elder had once again bumped into the other party's muzzle. However, sympathy was sympathy, but they didn't dare to speak up for third elder. Who asked third elder to dig this pit himself? You can't blame anyone else. Chapter 1705, The Ning Family is Not Safe. 3. The elders sat in their seats calmly and drank their tea, ready to watch the show. It was not that they were disloyal and did not care about third elder's safety. It was just that they had fought Leng Ruoxue many times and had never won. Hence, they were all hoping that someone like this would appear in the Ning family to kill Leng Ruox's spirit. However, it was unrealistic for them to place their hopes on third elder. The Ning family is not safe. Can you repeat that? When third elder heard Leng Ruox's words, he squinted his eyes and said unhappily, this damned girl actually dared to say that the impregnable Ning family is not safe. How preposterous. If even the Ning family was not safe, then who else in the divine realm could be safe? The moment he heard the words the Ning family is not safe, he was burning with rage. Hence, he did not take Leng Ruox's words of harassment to heart. The Ning family is not safe. Otherwise, why would my man feel so insecure and only feel at ease when he's with me? Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Humph. He's too useless. The third elder said with a look of disdain. A man who relied on a woman to protect him was a man who lived off a woman. Therefore, he looked down on the evildoer from the bottom of his heart, especially that extremely handsome face of the evildoer, which further confirmed his characteristic of living off a woman. Schwa. Who was this old man? Why are you so fierce? The evildoer tugged at Leng Ruox's sleeve with a face full of fear as he spoke with tears welling up in his eyes. Sparkling and translucent teardrops swirled in his ink-black eyes. His current cowardly appearance had made third elder look down on him even more. He's the third elder of the Ning family, don't be afraid. With me around, he won't dare to bully you. Leng Ruoxue could only helplessly cooperate when she saw the evildoer pretending to be weak. When second elder and the rest saw the evildoer's appearance, they were so frightened that their little hearts were trembling. If they weren't sitting down right now, they might have run away in panic. Fuck. This couple was really too despicable. They were obviously sinister and cunning, but they pretended to be pure little bunnies. Weren't they harming people? And this time, the victim would be their third elder. However, despite their sympathy, the second elder and the others didn't dare to expose this terrifying black-bellied man. Otherwise, they would be the unlucky ones. Schwa. The Ning family is too dangerous, we'd better leave this place as soon as possible. The demon said softly. However, his voice was so soft that all the elders present could hear him clearly. Damn it. How was the Ning family not safe? You better explain it to me clearly. When third elder heard them say that the Ning family was not safe, he was already furious. Until now, this hateful couple had not said where the Ning family was not safe, so his patience had run out. There's a shameless woman in your Ning family who's been having ideas about my man. She's been harassing him every 2 or 3 days, and he's been so annoyed. We can't hit or scold that woman, so I could only bring him here to hide. I think that woman wouldn't dare to come here. Leng Ruoxue said uncertainly. However, she finally told him the reason why the Ning family was not safe. The moment third elder heard the reason, he was so angry that he almost fainted. So it was such an unsafe method. These two hateful guys didn't make things clear earlier, causing him to misunderstand. But who was that woman? She had really lost all the face of the Ning family. The third elder's expression changed again and again. He couldn't help but think to himself. He had never liked women who chased after men. He felt that women like that had no self-respect. He had always thought that the Ning family's upbringing was very strict, and that the daughters of the Ning family were all beautiful and didn't worry about getting married. Therefore, after hearing Leng Ruoxiu's words, he felt his face heat up. He had never dreamed that the Ning family would have such a shameless daughter who would pester a married man. If that married man was an indomitable strong man, he might not be so angry. However, that man was a pretty boy who relied on a woman to protect him and lived off a woman. This was a fact that he could not accept. Just as he was secretly thinking about what kind of punishment he should give to the daughter of the Ning family who was chasing this pretty boy, suddenly, a sweet voice rang in his ear. Great-grandfather. Ning Shan, who was standing at the entrance of the meeting hall, called out softly with an obedient expression. Hearing this voice, the third elder turned around and smiled kindly. Why did Shan come? This is the meeting hall, not a place you can come to. Go back. Seeing third elder's friendly attitude, Leng Ruoxiu scoffed in her heart. This was really a difference in treatment. When this third elder was facing them earlier, he had a fiendish look on his face. Now, when he saw Ning Shan, he had turned into an amiable old man. However, she was very curious. If the third elder knew that the shameless woman of the Ning family who was pestering the evildoer was Ning Shan, would he still treat Ning Shan with such affability? Great-grandfather. I'm here to find someone. Ning Shan said shyly. The reason why she dared to come here was because of the third elder's love. Looking for someone? The person you're looking for isn't here. Go back quickly. The third elder raised his face and pretended to be angry. Great-grandfather. I'm here to look for young Master Yi, please let him leave with me. Ning Shan shamelessly requested. Thanks, young Master Yi. The third elder's face was filled with question marks. Where was this young Master Yi? Just as third elder was feeling bewildered, Leng Ruoxiu explained. Ninth young mistress, you're so bold. She's chasing someone else's man all the way to the meeting hall. It looks like there's no safe place in the Ning family. Leng Ruoxiu sighed. Shan. You. The young Master Yi you're looking for is him. After hearing Leng Ruoxiu's words, even if third elder was stupid, he still understood. He pointed at the evildoer and asked with a face of disbelief. Yes. Ning Shan-er's cheeks were flushed pink as she lowered her head and responded softly. Bastard. After confirming it, third elder was furious. He raised his hand and immediately, a crisp pa sound was heard. Ning Shan-er's face had been firmly slapped, and half of her face immediately swelled up. Great-grandfather. Why did you hit me? Ning Shan stared at third elder in disbelief and asked. Why did I hit you? Our Ning family's face has been completely lost by you, and you still dare to ask why. The third elder was furious. When he had just come out of his closed-door cultivation, he had heard about the matter regarding this descendant. However, after knowing that she might have been drugged, his heart ached more than he blamed her. He had repeatedly warned her to be careful in the future and not to easily form grudges with others. However, he did not expect that after the matter had finally subsided, this wretched girl would actually chase after a man again. It was a gigolo who lived off a woman. More importantly, that man was Leng Ruoxiu. This fact made him feel even more embarrassed. He had always been concerned about his face, but now he had lost face in front of Leng Ruoxiu and the others. How could he not be angry? Moreover, he finally understood why Leng Ruoxiu did not explain herself earlier. She knew that Ning Shan was a descendant of his bloodline and wanted to make a fool out of him. And those elders, not a single one of them had warned him. He was filled with hatred. However, now that things had come to this, he could only brace himself and continue. Ning Shan wanted to explain, but after seeing the third elder's fierce gaze, she could not say a word. The tears in her beautiful eyes rolled down silently. Men! Take her back to her room and look after her. Without my order, no one is allowed to let her out. The third elder did not want to see Ning Shan'er now, so he shouted at the door. Then, 2 guards walked into the meeting hall and took away Ning Shan'er, who was crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain. Upon hearing third elder's order, Len Ruoxue patted the demon's arm to comfort him. She smiled in satisfaction and said, Ning Shan'er has been grounded again. She's safe now. There's no need to be afraid. Although her words were meant to appease the evildoer, it was completely not the case in third elder's ears. Third elder knew that this damned girl was mocking him and angering him. And the one who caused all this was Ning Shan'er. The more he doted on Ning Shan'er in the past, the more he loathed Ning Shan'er now. This had also determined that Ning Shan'er could not leave his residence in a short period of time. Hee. Isn't it time for a meeting? Seeing that the atmosphere was a little oppressive, the second elder, who had been watching the fun, finally spoke. Seeing the third elder's angry face and red neck, he was extremely happy. Even though he was rejoicing in third elder's misfortune, he could still understand third elder's current mood, because he had once felt the same way. It's time for the meeting. We've already wasted a lot of time because of Ning Shan'er. Len Ruoxue said with a smile. Since there's a meeting, can he leave now? The third elder glared at the demon. It was because of this pretty boy that he had lost so much face in front of Len Ruoxue. Therefore, he was a little angry. No. The Ning family is not safe. Len Ruoxue still said the same thing. Chapter 1706, The Endless Sea, 1. Hearing this, the third elder's anger was stuck in his chest. He couldn't breathe it out or swallow it down. His heart ached, and the veins on his clenched fists were visible. One could imagine how angry he was. Didn't I already ground Ning Shan'er? What's not safe? The third elder took a few deep breaths and said while suppressing his anger. There are many young ladies in the Ning family. Ning Shan'er won't be the only one who has designs on my man, so it's safest for him to stay by my side. Len Ruoxue said with a smile. Don't worry. Our Ning family's young lady wouldn't have such bad taste to take a fancy to your man. The third elder gritted his teeth as he cursed in his heart. What did Len Ruoxue take the daughter of the Ning family for? The young lady of the Ning family would not be so bad at judging people. She would not give up so many outstanding men and only take a fancy to a pretty boy who lived off a woman. That's not for sure. Isn't Ning Shan'er the best example? Len Ruoxue smiled calmly. She knew that this old man was no longer calm. Her objective today was to make him lose his cool so that she could fish in troubled waters. She's an exception. The third elder glared at her and roared. Ning Shan'er was a descendant of his bloodline, yet Len Ruoxue was using her as a handle against him. This fact made him both angry and hateful. The love he had for Ning Shan'er had also decreased. She has a criminal record, and she's not only wooed my man. The young master of the Cheng family was also wooed by her until he didn't even dare to return home. From this, it can be seen that the 9th miss of the Ning family's skills in wooing men have reached the peak. Len Ruoxue chuckled as she teased. Meanwhile, Qing Xian, who was resting at Ning Haolan's place, sneezed a few times. Who's talking bad about me? He thought to himself. He suddenly felt a chill down his spine. When third elder heard Len Ruoxue's words, he felt embarrassed and angry at the same time. It was as if there was a ball of fire burning in his heart, and a suffocating feeling was stuck in his chest, causing him to have no way to vent it. Although he really wanted to argue, his short interaction with Len Ruoxue made him very clear that what Len Ruoxue said was most likely the truth. Otherwise, she would not have brought this up. When he thought of this, his resentment towards Ning Shan'er grew even deeper. Third elder, don't you want to express your opinion? Seeing that third elder was silent, Len Ruoxue took the initiative to provoke him. I have nothing to say, let's start the meeting. The third elder took a few deep breaths and pretended to be calm. Then let's start the meeting. Seeing that the third elder was suppressing his anger and no longer mentioned the matter of letting the evildoer leave the assembly hall, Len Ruoshua decided to stop while she was ahead. After all, she couldn't push this old man into a corner, or it wouldn't do her any good. As soon as they heard that there would be a meeting, all the elders put away their expressions of watching a good show and became serious. Third elder. I heard that you're planning to bring some of the elders to the secret realm. The second elder cleared his throat and said straightforwardly. The reason why he had come straight to the point was because he knew the third elder too well. If he beat around the bush, the third elder's rebellious heart would only grow bigger. Therefore, he could only speak the truth. Thanks, yes, I am. The third elder nodded and did not say anything else. However, he was secretly pondering the second elder's intentions. Third elder. I have a different opinion on this. The second elder glanced at the third elder and said. What is second elder's opinion? The third elder sat up straight and spoke with an expression of being taught. Although he would usually call the second elder second brother, at times like this, they would usually address each other by their identity as a sign of respect. I don't agree to you going to the secret realm. The second elder deliberately paused for a moment before expressing his thoughts. The reason why these words came out of his mouth was because of his high status and prestige in the Ning family. If these words were said by Len Ruoshua, then third elder would definitely be very disgusted. Thus, he could only be the bird that stood out in the direct confrontation with third elder. Second elder. The whereabouts of the patriarch and the others are unknown in the secret realm, how can we just leave them be? The third elder stood up from his seat in anger when he heard the second elder's words. His face was ashen as he coldly said, how can you call this nonchalant? Although patriarch and the others have gone missing in the secret realm, not many people in the divine world know about this, so we must take precautions in advance. Our main task is to protect the clansmen of the Ning family in the domain of the gods, so that people with ulterior motives don't have an opportunity to take advantage of them. Otherwise, if something happens to these clansmen, we won't be able to explain it to Patriarch when he returns. The second elder explained very carefully. Second elder, are you afraid that someone will come to the Ning family to make trouble? You're being too careful. Our Ning family is the leader of the 8 great divine regions. If anyone dares to come, I'll make sure they won't be able to return. The third elder said confidently. Third elder. With so many top forces trapped in the secret realm, we have to be more vigilant. Therefore, I absolutely don't approve of you going to the secret plane. The second elder said worriedly. Second elder. You're over-filtering it. The third elder didn't think much of it. He was extremely confident in the strength of his clan. He didn't think that anyone in the divine realm would dare to come to his Ning clan to cause trouble. Wasn't that the same as courting death? Whether or not I'm over-filtering, I won't allow you to go to the secret realm. The second elder said stubbornly. His words caused the third elder to frown. The third elder did not expect the second elder to be so insistent on this matter. Although he did not know why, he felt that this was not his second brother's usual style. If it was in the past, he would probably be the first elder to suggest bringing people to the mystic realm after knowing that the family head and the others had gone missing. But now, he was strongly opposed to this matter. This was really abnormal. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of a reason. Thus, he decided to wait and see. He wanted to see how tough his second brother's attitude could be. However, the second elder's following words were far beyond his expectations. However, I know that you are all worried about the master and the elders of the Ning family, and I am also worried about them, but you'd better think carefully. Even with the master's strength, he was able to go missing inside. If you go, do you have the confidence to bring them out? Let's not talk about whether we can find them or not. If you're also trapped inside, then there's no one left in the Ning family. If someone were to launch a sneak attack at this time, have you thought of the consequences? The second elder said earnestly. His words made all the elders fall into deep thought, and third elder's jaw almost dropped. Fuck. The person who was full of reason was his second brother. This was really too inconceivable. It should be known that his second brother had always given him the impression of being overbearing and impulsive. But now, he was telling them such a reason, and it was impossible for them to refute it. Was this person really their Ning family's second elder? Could it have been switched? Chapter 1707, The Endless Sea, 2. The third elder peeked at the second elder suspiciously, trying to find some clues. However, after observing him for a long time, he was sure that this was the second brother he had known for many years. He was the real deal. However, he couldn't figure out why his second brother would object to them going to the secret realm. After all, in his heart, his second brother was the one who should be the most approving. Third elder. The master is not here, so our responsibility to the clan is even greater. Therefore, we must guard the Ning family well. This is the most important thing. The second elder couldn't help but remind the third elder after seeing through his thoughts. What about the patriarch and the others? Are we just going to ignore this? The third elder asked. It's not that I don't care, I'm just waiting and watching. I keep feeling that the god world is going to be troubled. Many of the top powers are trapped in that secret realm. If this matter were to spread out, I'm afraid it would bring a shock to the divine world. Some guys who can't see the light might even take the opportunity to jump out and cause trouble. The second elder said worriedly. Second elder, aren't you thinking too much? The third elder felt that the second elder's words were a little alarmist, and the purpose behind this was to prevent them from entering the secret realm. Third elder. We don't want to think about this now. If something really happens, we'll regret it. Therefore, we must prepare for a rainy day and make full preparations in advance so that we won't be flustered when the time comes. The second elder warned. How about this? I don't want people to say that I'm too overbearing, so let's not argue about going to the secret plane or not. Let's just vote. Miss Leng, please be a witness. The second elder added. Good. I'm honored. Leng Ruoxua nodded. Third elder, what do you think of this idea? The second elder asked the third elder with a smile. They had known each other for many years and understood each other very well. They knew that if they didn't make a decision, the stalemate would continue. Thus, they had to cut the Gordian knot quickly. Voting seemed to be the fairest and just method. As for the results of the voting, no one would have any doubts. Good. Let's just vote. The third elder agreed. Although many of the elders present were on the second elder's side, there were also many elders who were on good terms with him. Therefore, he was not afraid of losing the vote. Third elder, you don't have any objections to me being the witness, right? Leng Ruoxua asked. I have no objections. The third elder nodded. Although the votes were anonymous, the results were public and couldn't be faked. Therefore, he really didn't care who was the witness. Then let's start the voting. Just as Leng Ruoxua finished her sentence, Grape and Lotus Seed entered the room. When they saw the two uninvited young ladies, third elder and the rest were stunned. What was going on? They recognized these two ladies and knew that they were Leng Ruoxua's maidservants. However, what were they doing here at this time? Grape and Lotus Seed handed the papers in their hands to the elders who were sitting. Then, Grape took out a small box that he had prepared earlier from his storage ring and placed it on the table. What is the meaning of this? An elder asked out of curiosity. Elders, after you've finished writing, put the paper into this box. Grape explained. Thanks, oh. The elder who spoke nodded. They had never seen this before. Although the Ning family had also voted before, they had always written the results directly to the family master or the acting family master, and then they would announce it. This method was unprecedented for them. Is there something fishy about this box? At this moment, third elder asked worriedly. When he saw the box, the anger in his heart rose again. He even suspected that Leng Ruoxua and the rest had prepared this beforehand. Otherwise, why would her maidservant have prepared everything the moment they decided to vote? If third elder is worried, feel free to come forward and check. Other elders who are worried can also go and check, in case you say that I'm manipulating things behind the scenes. Leng Ruoxue said in an understanding manner. The moment she finished speaking, third elder was the first to rush forward without hesitation. The third elder picked up the small box and looked inside and out, but he still couldn't find anything. He suddenly felt a little depressed. It looked like he was being petty, and the other party didn't want to use any means at all. As for the other elders who came forward to check, after carefully examining it, they did not find any flaws and directly returned to their seats. Third elder and the other elders can now rest assured. You guys can start voting. Leng Ruoxue replied calmly. However, she could not help but laugh in her heart. Did third elder really think that she would tamper with the box? In fact, among the elders present, the second elder had looked for most of them in advance and fiercely explained to them. He had also asked them to carefully think about it and made his position clear, reminding them not to be the Ning family's eternal sinners. As soon as he said this, the elders' minds were in turmoil. Although the second elder did not explicitly ask them to agree with his opinion, his words revealed the same message, which was that whoever agreed to go would be going against him. As such, the elders did not dare to be careless. After close to a day of thinking, Leng Ruoxue was clear that these elders already had a conclusion in their hearts. And now, it was time to test second elder's strength. After a while, all the elders had cast their votes and returned to their seats. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue walked to the voting box. Elders, it's time to announce the results. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Then, she took out the votes from the voting box one by one. After all the votes were announced, the final results of the voting were out. There were close to 100 elders present, but the voting results were almost one-sided. Only less than 10 elders were in favor of going to the mystic realm, while the other elders had all voted against it. This result made Leng Ruoxue extremely satisfied. This is impossible. The third elder's face darkened when he heard the result. He glared at the elders beside him with his fiery eyes. However, those elders all lowered their heads and didn't look at him. He understood what was going on. To die. No one wanted to go, especially to an unknown place where their lives could be in danger. These elders who were usually high and mighty, pampered, were not really willing to go with him. Previously, they had been pressured by him and had no choice but to go along with him. Now that the second elder had said that they were not allowed to go to the mystic realm, it was exactly what they wanted. Therefore, the final voting result was like this. AI. Although he was angry, he knew that this was human nature. Why would he want to die? However, if he didn't figure out what happened in the secret realm and didn't contact the family master and the others, if the news of the family master and the others' disappearance were to spread, people would look down on the Ning family. He insisted on going for the sake of the Ning family's reputation.